Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Annie Talk Show. Or rather, this is actually the Annie Talk Show presenting Mix Talk, our podcast. I was gonna do a whole separate overlay, but hey, you know what? I came in strong with everybody presented here in our lovely square here. So, everybody, we're excited to be here. It is Mix Talks episode number 4, and this one is called Getting Around. And what it is basically, first of all, we're a group of people who are here talking everything nostalgic, from retro to things that are relevant to today. So things that we experienced in the past that we're bringing to the forefront to today because it makes sense today still, right? So or we just like to reminisce on things that that made memories for us, or had nostalgic sentimental value and whatnot. So anyways, today's episode is Getting Around, and we'll get more into that in just a little bit. But without further ado, I would really just love to be able to introduce to you our group of panelists. I'm going to unmute you guys now, so give me a minute. I'm going to go ahead and unmute this group. So if y'all will just unmute your microphones as well. Let's start right now with our very lovely, our lovely panelists, starting top left, rather, your guys' top left, right? Oh, goodness. Let's start with DJ and Rizaline. DJ and Rizaline, thank you guys so much for being here.
Hi.
What's up, guys? My name is DJB, live in the mix, and this is
Rizaline Beatrice, but you can call me Riz.
Yeah, we are based out of the San Francisco Bay Area, and you can catch me streaming Mondays and Fridays. Sorry for the plug. I didn't know if that was appropriate.
Yeah, please.
It felt appropriate to do that.
You're in trouble.
Plug away. That's what I meant to say. Is please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about you, all of you. Okay, what do you stream, DJ?
I stream Valorant on Mondays, unranked. So everyone come through. No try harding. And I am also currently streaming the Mass Effect Legendary Edition trilogy, so be sure to check that out as well.
Backseat gaming allowed, or yes or no?
Yeah, sure. Backseat gaming is allowed, at least on Mass Effect.
Yeah, awesome. Yay! Well, thank you and welcome, Rizaline.
Oh, well, I don't stream really, so I don't know what to share. But
share
fun
something.
fact, I manage. I'm an admin for a Facebook group that's about Shrek, and it has like 3,000 people in it.
Wait, about Shrek? Really?
Yeah, it's called Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life.
Wow.
She's a huge Shrek fan. So.
Oh, okay. Wait, have you seen the musical?
No.
Oh my Lord! You have to go see the musical. Go download the musical, or go check it out. If you like musicals and you like Shrek, I think you'll find it absolutely. It's definitely a showstopper. I think you should go check it out. Well, thank you and welcome. And next we have up is our one and only, the uncontested, the incomparable Johnny Frickenrico.
Hi Annie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, a long weekend. My name is Johnny Frickenrico. I am a Southern California native here. I am a game streamer, content creator, and general technology enthusiast. I love 80s stuff, anything retro, and I love me some horror movies.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Well, what kind of games do you stream, since we're on the topic of gaming now?
I've been really into Counter-Strike Source. I have my own 24/7 server running all the time. It's loaded with a bunch of bots, but as people jump in, bots get kicked out. My kids are getting into it too. My middle kid, Joshua, just loves it. He was playing it for like 12 hours straight the other day. So
My goodness. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. And as it's always a pleasure to have you along for the ride. It's never a dull moment with Johnny freaking Rico. That's for sure. Thank you. And next up, we have the lovely my wing woman. Yay, Miss Wifey Loves Nerd.
Hey
Woohoo!
guys, I'm Wifey Loves Nerd. I am in Texas, and I guess a little bit about myself. I love to bake. I do everything crafts, t-shirts, jewelry, you name it, anything I can get my hands on. And I am a mom of two little boys. Well, I guess two little boys. One is 15, so he's not little anymore. Um, and my husband, which is right around the corner from me, is also a gamer. He's back there playing. But yeah, that's basically about me.
Yay. Okay, so we've been talking about gaming. So what do you like? What's one of the games that you like to
Same.
play?
I'm not really a streamer, and I've never really been a gamer, but Annie, we've been obsessing over Valorant. That's been our game
Yay.
for sure. I do like Phasmophobia too, so and weird because it's really not my thing. I don't watch horror movies. Sorry, Johnny, but I don't watch horror movies. But I do like to play the game. I don't know. It's weird, but I do like to play the game. I enjoy it. But Valorant is definitely one that we've been obsessing over, and we play so often. And I don't know. I'm not that great, but I'm getting there.
Well, you definitely we both are definitely stepping up our game. I think so. Yay! And it's
We've learned a lot.
it's a lot of fun to play with you. And thank you and welcome. Okay, I am Annie Talk Show. I'm a variety streamer. I started here on Twitch Sings, here on Twitch, and that's how I met most of all these lovely people here, and then most of people on Twitch. I met them through Twitch Sings, and as you know, Twitch Sings went away, so we've been trying to get creative with our streams lately. So we've been doing some music streams, and I've done a few, I think 2 music streams with co streams with both DJ and Rosaline. So that's a lot of fun. And yes, I do play games. I guess you could call me a gamer girl now, but on games, or when we're playing games, my name is Girl Talk. So come, add me. If you play Valorant especially, add me. Let's see. I started off doing talk shows and podcast here on Twitch as my very first stream, and then I started doing just chatting, and then I discovered Twitch Sings, and then all just kind of opened up a Pandora's box, and it's been a lot of fun. The journey's been a lot of fun, and meeting all brand new people and new people and like-minded individuals, here on Twitch, and sharing ideas has been one of my favorite things to do, especially in our Discord when we, our Discord is pretty active. So, the Discord link will be funneling through, so feel free to jump in the Discord anytime, anybody, so you can come hang out with us. But thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and I think this is a really good, mix of panelists. They bring their own and interesting ideas and experiences of things, that we've all either gone through growing up, or a part of what the venture behind Mixed Talk was to be able to talk about things that we experienced while growing up, things that made some sense to some degree, and maybe even didn't make sense, but then knowing that there's other people like you that are experiencing them, and we were able to share them to some degree together, even if we were in 2 different or many different spaces of time, it still meant something. Like there's that common share, and I love that. So that's the premise behind this podcast, and I was really excited to bring it to the idea to both to all of us here, DJ, Rosaline, Johnny, and Wifey. And when they jumped on it, I was really excited that we had a common mindset. So today's topic, I'm going to turn off this music now because it's starting to it's almost too nostalgic to the point like I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. But let me just quickly talk about what our subject is today. Actually, before we get into that subject, let's talk about the subject really quick. But I do have we're gonna go real through this really quickly. We're gonna talk about icebreaker, and I meant to say for each of you as you introduce yourselves to talk about your icebreaker, but really quick. We'll go around the room the same way that we did with the intros. Let's talk about your favorite place to travel to, and if money were no object, where would you like to vacation? Since we're talking on the subject of trans or getting around, we thought that transportation was a good segue to be able to introduce this icebreaker. So, DJ, let's start with you. Your favorite place to travel to, and if money were no object, where would you like to vacation?
Huh. Well,
Hmm.
my favorite place to travel to, uh, I guess, I guess I would say, um, I guess Australia.
To
I've been,
travel to? Wow. Okay.
yeah, I lived in Australia for a year,
Mm-hmm.
uh, about 10 years ago, and yeah, I haven't been back since, and always been wanting to go back, but I guess I just like the vibe there. Australia is interesting because it's like, since me being in California, Australia is like the exact opposite end of, or at least the eastern coast of Australia is the opposite end of the Pacific, right?
Oh, okay.
So it just feels the same, but just flipped, you know, um, in a lot of different ways. For example, they when it's summertime, it's wintertime there, but and also the weather just felt really similar. So it's like it's kind of like home, but it also feels like a different part of the world. So and if money were no object, I would just want to go to pretty much every tropical island. I would,
Oh.
you know, and not. I will say this though. I went to Mallorca once,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really nice. I went during like the off season, so there wasn't a lot of people around, but you have the beaches, and then you go in town, and it's like these little Spanish towns,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just really nice. They have like these like there's like these guys on the street corners just playing acoustic guitar and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
So yeah, I would like to
Wow.
go there again someday.
You're well traveled already. That's awesome.
Really, it really is though.
Right? I know. Okay, Rizaline, where is your favorite place to travel? And if money were no object, where would you like
Um,
to
Favorite place I've traveled to. In 29, was it 2019? 2018. I went to Bali
go?
with
Really?
my friends from high school. Did like a girls trip, so that was fun, and it's pretty affordable, and it felt a lot like the Philippines. I'm Filipino, and I've been to the Philippines a couple times growing up, but it's like the same kind of weather. Like the people look the same, the language is kind of similar. It felt like familiar, even though I'd never been there before.
Wow.
Um, Places to go that I'd want to go. Um, I mean, I'd be down to go to like Japan. That sounds
Ooh,
fun.
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Hmm. Nice. Well, when the next time you plan a Japan trip, hello, think of us.
I know,
Think of us.
right?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Johnny, you're up.
This is gonna sound kind of stupid, but I always wanted to go to Tombstone, Arizona, to see where Wyatt Earp and the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday battled it out on the road to Tombstone. So I got to go there. I took my whole family, and we had a blast. I have relatives
Nice.
in Arizona, but like
Nice.
we went out of the way. We went all the way to Tucson, and then south of there to go to Tombstone, and it's worth checking out. If you ever go through Arizona, check out Tombstone. They make it look just like I guess it did back the original city portion. They make it look just like it did back then.
Mm-hmm.
It is modernized. Some of the buildings, there's electricity, but it's really neat. It's just nostalgic. You get to go to the courthouse. The original courthouse is still there. The original strip is still there. They have the
Mm.
birdcage theater, whatever the hell it's called, and you can eat there. I mean, it's a good tourist attraction, but it's really nice. It just has this really spooky feel to it, which I
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a place I did get to go to, thank goodness. And as far as some place I want to go, DJB remix stole my answer. Australia. I always wanted to go to Australia, and I'm gonna go actually. Once all this COVID stuff is done with, and it's a little easier, the restrictions for traveling places, I'm gonna go.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, he
Nice.
lived there, so he's already been there.
Oh, I know. That's the same thing. That's even worse. He lived there.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I'm gonna go to Adelaide. Everyone's telling me, all my Aussie friends here on Twitch is like, go to Adelaide. You're gonna love it there. Don't go to Sydney. Everyone goes to Sydney and regrets it. Go to the Adelaide. So I'm going to Adelaide. I'm probably gonna take one of my kids. My oldest kid just graduated high school,
Oh
so maybe
yeah.
Oh,
Senior
as a little
trip.
reward,
yay.
Yeah, senior trip. There
senior
you
trip
go.
to Australia.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. With dad.
with
Perfect.
dad.
Right?
Aw.
No, just kidding. I'm kidding. All right.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
just
for
right in my
sharing.
parade end.
So sorry. Well, hey, if I'm not here to bust your chops, then what good is it, right? Just kidding. All right, and now, wifey. So your favorite place to travel to, and if money were no object, where would you like to go?
Place I traveled to was Hawaii.
Mm.
I had a privilege to visit for an entire month.
Ooh.
I had my aunt lived there. Her husband was in the military, and that's where they got stationed. So we were able to get some tickets, my mom and I, and spend a month there. But it was so awesome to be able to travel to the Big Island of Hawaii, and go to all the local places and all the beaches, and like Waikiki was just amazing. We went to volcanic areas where you could actually walk on the volcano floor and feel like how hollow it was underneath, and it was just amazing. It did also remind me of Puerto Rico. My
Ooh.
family and I are from Puerto Rico, so it did remind me a lot. Same like with weather and stuff. Um, so that was kind of cool. I kind of like that, and as far as like mountains and stuff, like you get like the cool nights, but you still get the nice, hot days and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed the weather there as well. I got to say, one of the things that I saw that was just incredible that I had never seen before was at night. My cousin had a trampoline, and we would all lay down at night and look up at the stars. And I had never seen the
Ooh.
amount of stars that you can see, being out there where we were. It's just like amazing. Like I just never seen that before. So I definitely loved Hawaii. That was a really cool experience. If I could go somewhere, I just want to go to like either one of those places where you stay in those little houses over the water, like those little bungalow. Uh,
Mm.
you know, I don't even care where, just one of those places where you stay and you got like your own private pool and you can literally open a door and just jump into the ocean. Um, so like Bora Bora, or I don't know, one of those places like that where they have those. I would love to go to one of those. That's always been a dream.
Nice. Wow, that
Yeah.
sounds really relaxing and romantic and
Right?
wow, that's yeah. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so for me, I've actually never, surprisingly, I've never been out of the United States ever. So I'm not even, I can't even call myself an international traveler because there's no sense in that. It's like never been out of the U.S. So I've only been to two really like two places that stood out to me in the past that I've traveled to was to Florida. When we went to go visit Florida, we went to West Palm Beach and I saw these in Juno Beach. I saw this the beautiful the beach was unbelievably beautiful. It was white. You talk about white sandy beaches. It had that, and the ocean was like so beautiful green blue water. It was so nice and so warm, and I hate the beach. I do. I just hate the beach. I hate stepping my foot in the beach or in the water because I just hate the sandy feeling. I hate being, I hate it. It just, but I didn't mind it because it was so beautiful. Out here in California, sad to say, when you come to California, you step in the beach, you step in the water, you're like stepping in seaweed and glass and bottle caps and everything else, right? So not there, not in
Yeah.
Florida. It was unfreaking believable, and I was mesmerized by your beaches. It was just beautiful. So I envy, you Floridians, and I know that wifey, you're moving back to
That's my
West Palm Beach.
hometown.
Yeah. And then the only other place that I saw that I visited was Steamboat Springs, Colorado. That this one stood out to me too because it's a time. Both of them were baseball related when my son went play baseball. But Steamboat was a lot of fun because we took the whole family. We stayed along this lake, and we were the only ones that bought this. Then it was called I guess, well, it was a rental, but it wasn't necessarily a timeshare or sorry, an Airbnb. But we rented this house next to the lake, and it was just beautiful. The only other thing that sucked about it was that there was mosquitoes like crazy, but yeah, but we loved it. The trip was so fun. We had all the kids, kids in the car, and every song that we could go through. We learned every song on the kids' playlist and DVDs or CDs, and we could sing them front and back because we did that. It was a beautiful road trip. It was a lot of fun. Now, the only other place that I would probably want to visit, like wifey, I'd like to go someplace tropical, but I think I would rather do kind of an island hopping adventure. So I would love to go to Tahiti, to all of course
Yeah.
the Hawaiian Islands. I want to go to Guam. I want to go to all of the islands, the Sandwich Islands network, or the whole Sandwich Islands, basically that whole mecca of islands. That's what I want to do. I want to, I'm part of a Hawaiian radio station, and a lot of what we do is we take the artists and during shows they take them through this virtual tour, basically, of or what they call island hopping. So they go from every single one of the islands, and they bring out all the different cultural dances and musicians and singers and styles of hula, right, or Tahitian dancing. So that's something that has always just been embedded in my mind, and I've always wanted to do. So we talk about it so much during the shows that that's exactly what I would love to do, is to be able to go island hopping. So yeah. Yay. But thank you guys for sharing that. That was a lot of fun. Good things to lock forward to, once the pandemic loosens up a little bit and we can all start to travel.
Yep.
So I'd love to, I expect to see like some of your pictures in the future. So as you guys go to all your, travel vacations and such. All right, so let's get back to the topic. Sorry, that was a long segue, but today's topic, as we mentioned, is called "Getting Around Transportation and Dating." So, so before, I'm basically just gonna kind of regurgitate what Rizline was saying in that before Uber and Lyft and ride sharing looked more like getting rides from parents. For me, it was yes, I did get rides from parents, but I also hopped rides with friends, and there was a lot of walking, a lot of walking from place to place for me, for sure. My parents used to always say, when we were kids, we walked, 10 miles. And at the time I couldn't fathom that, but now I'm
In
looking
the
back.
snow.
Yeah, now I'm looking back going, wait, I walked too. Shoot, what am I talking about? So,
For real.
but we even traveled onto public transportations, buses and things like that. I don't think cab riding was a thing for me growing up, at least. But I can't even start to think that was anything for anybody else, because today's transportation is totally different, right? But
Yep.
okay, so when you go from point A to point B, that kind of goes hand in hand, as Riz was saying earlier, that it goes hand in hand with meeting up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your significant other, your friends, and your your groups that you hang out with, your bros and your girlfriends and such. So, which I think is really kind of interesting. So we kind of put this topic together about transportation, and then we're going to segue into how it kind of melded in together with your first dating experiences. So I'm going to turn this over to Wifey now, who's going to probably just give you some fun facts about transportation now. Wifey?
Right. So there's a fun fact that I have some others, but we'll talk about those further. But one of them, I tried to kind of look into something where it would be into transportation, but also kind of dating. So this fun fact I have is about drive-ins, the movie theater drive-ins. And
Ooh.
the first drive-in movie theater opened on June 6th in 1933 in Camden,
Oh.
New Jersey, and it advertised as a family or group activity for moviegoers, and they had to pay 25 cents per car and 25 cents per person to park, which meant that a night at the movie theater could cost less than $1 overall.
Wow.
Um,
Huh.
yeah, so that was kind of crazy. Because the automobile era had arrived, the movie industry was booming. So parking in, going to drive-ins was really big. It was very common during, the dating activity as well. But it was also something that, as families and groups of friends, it just became something that was very popular to do back then. So it was called an icon of American culture. It was,
Yeah.
going to the drive-in. But yeah, so it was something that started back in 1933. It was in New Jersey, and yeah, like I said, it was less than $1 to go see a movie.
That's
So
Wow.
I thought
that
that was
is a
kind of
trip.
interesting.
That's a trip. Now, what happens if you pile like a bunch of people like in a station wagon and there's people like hiding under blankets and such
In the trunk.
in the trunk, yeah, or in a van? It's like,
I guess we could get away with it. I mean,
do they head count? Let me see. Open your car. Let me see the people
right?
in your car. I mean, do they take your word for it? That's a total trip, but. Yeah, drive-in is a thing.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think you guys are too young to have experienced a drive-in, but
Uh,
I definitely have. So,
I
we
have.
did actually.
did
We went
you?
to one. Well,
Oh,
because of the pandemic, there was one here in our city. Um, I think the local movie theater decided to put it on for Wonder Woman 1984. It was
oh.
terrible. It
It
was
was a
not a
it was a terrible movie for a fun night, right? It was
well,
supposed to be.
no. I actually didn't mind the movie. I thought the movie was okay. It's just you could barely make out anything in the film. The audio was just like uh,
So like the projection
it
quality
was, yeah,
was
the projection quality was
not that great.
not that good. Uh, we get a lot of ambient light out here where we live, so there was it wasn't really clear. It just looked like gray images being like moving on a brick wall or something like that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, what's funny, I think it costed us $25. So
Yeah.
25 cents
Oh.
back
Yeah.
then. $25 today.
I'm curious to know really quick. Did they have you put? Well, how did your audio quality come sound, and then how did you get your audio?
It was,
Radio.
yeah, they had a radio
Oh, okay.
transmitter.
That's what I was wondering too, because wifey, you said the first drive-in is like in the 30s or something. And I'm like, how did
1933.
did they just like have speakers like
They
hella
must have had
loud?
speakers because if you remember, like in films and stuff too,
They
a
had
lot
like
of
a
times they had their
there's like a
either their windows
thingy.
open or they had their convertibles, with the top
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
down, watching the movie. So they had to had, big old speakers, I'm sure, to be able to hear the movie. I've been to a drive-in as well, and I can remember it was years ago in Florida, and it was part of a um, what do you call that? Flea market. It was part of a flea market,
Oh,
and I
okay.
remember they would have like a circus thing, and then they had the drive-in
What the
and
heck?
the big flea
Oh
market.
my
Yeah,
god.
it was a really weird place, but
Oh
my
yeah,
parents
yeah.
used to go
Mhm.
all the time, and I remember that where you'd park, you'd park up like
Mhm.
they'd have like these little
Oh right, like
hills
little
or whatever,
like these little mounds or like bumps or
right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And you'd park
Mm.
this way, so when you'd sit down, you'd actually be like laying back
Yeah.
in your chair. But same thing, we also would put like a certain station they tell you to put on, and
Yeah.
that's how you would hear it.
I'll blow your guys'
Um,
mind because
I,
when we
I
were kids, we had to listen to the speaker, the audio through this little metal contraption that they gave to you, and you would put
Yeah.
on your
that's what I was gonna
window.
say,
Yeah, and I
and it was
hated
horrible.
it.
It
Was
was horrible. And
horrible,
you'd park
horrible.
and you'd park and you'd be all ready to go, and then you turn the little box on, and
Mm-hmm.
You're like, drive the car somewhere else. Because
It's
if it didn't work,
yep,
you're reading
terrible.
lips, you know.
Yeah. And it used to be on my dad's side of the window all the time. It drove me nuts. I'm like, Dad, turn it up. He goes, it's loud. And I'm like, it's not. We can't hear anything back here, Dad. It was terrible, terrible. And then we never put it on my mom's side because she didn't know how to work it. One time we put it on her side. She was like, I don't know how to do this, you know. And we're like, oh God. Meanwhile, half the movie's already gone. So we're like, oh no. So yeah.
I think the bad part is sitting in the back because then you have, the seats in the front. You're like trying to look in
Right.
between, you know.
Yeah.
Me
For
That's
and my
sure.
sister, when we be at the drive-in, we'd look at the other movies that were rated R, you know, because there's usually four movies playing, one here, and then two behind you. So we'll be in the back watching Poltergeist or The Fog or
I'd be
Oh,
something.
like,
okay.
I'd be like, I want to watch that movie. Let me. What's the station for that movie? That's so funny. Thank you for sharing those fun facts, wifey. Really appreciate that. All right. So
Hmm.
as far as getting around, okay. So what does that mean? What means of transport, or rather, what means of transportation did you all take? So, um, like I said earlier, I walked around a lot. So, but for each of you, what means of transportation did you all take? Let's start with
Um,
Johnny.
Um, just get rides from at an early age. It's getting rides from family members. Basically, I was lucky because I had nearby where I lived in the same city. I had both my grandparents. So randomly, my grandma would pick up me and my sister from school. So we'd be leaving school and we'd see my grandma's car there. I might have told this story before. Funny story, right? Because my grandma had a very unique looking car. It was a Pontiac. It looked like an eagle.
nice.
So we'd never seen a car that looked like it. And one day my sister got out of school. She saw the car there. She instantly enters the car
Oh
and
no.
starts talking
Oh
like, "Oh,
no.
grandma, today was such a long day." And she looks into some weird guy like,
Oh
and then she's like,
no.
oh my God, I'm so sorry." So Scaring Stone, yeah, it was hilarious. I never let her forget that. But yeah,
Oh
getting rights
my
from
gosh.
family members. Yeah, stranger danger, stranger danger.
Stranger danger. Oh snap. Oh goodness. And wifey?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it was mostly family members. We had an uncle who we always called him, our cab because anytime we wanted to go somewhere or when we went to school, even, and I can't remember the type of car, but I remember it being a really old car to the fact that like the ceiling was like hitting us, like the material the
The
ceiling
material.
would hit us, and like it was like rusty and just it was a really old car. And I remember everywhere we went, whether it be like the movies or school or whatever, we'd be like, can you park like a little bit further back? Just so the other kids wouldn't see. But yeah, poor thing. He really did drive us everywhere, anywhere we wanted to go. Our poor uncle, we always bothered him, and we always
Oh.
got rides from him. And if not, a lot of times we rode our bikes too.
Yeah.
That was
Ooh.
another way. We rode our bikes a lot.
Same.
To
Same.
the park or to friends' houses and stuff like that. If it was close enough to where our parents would let us go, but yeah, that's pretty much how I got around.
Awesome. DJ and Risling.
Um, yeah, it's like everyone else, like by car for the most part. I do remember like I went to Catholic school, so it's like smaller community, and like somehow my parents would find out which people lived in the same neighborhood as us. So like we would growing up, like we had different people as our carpools, and they'd like pick us up and then pick other people up along the way. And then eventually, like when I started driving, I was the one that was picking up like my brother's classmates on our route, and I'd
Oh.
drop them off to school, then go to my high school also. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I don't like. Otherwise, I do remember like a little bit of walking, like in high school, people would walk like all the way up this hill and like down to like a shopping center because that's where the closest place was. We did have bikes, so we'd like ride our bikes to the park, but we wouldn't. it's like when we're younger, for some reason, it's like everything's like kind of smaller in
Mm-hmm.
area. You know, like we don't venture farther out. Well, for me, I mean, that's I grew up in like a suburban area,
Mm-hmm.
so not we didn't. I just didn't get out very much.
No problem, like no problem with that at all, at all. DJ.
Well, I mean, for me, I didn't really go out that much when I was a kid. If we're talking about when I was really young, um, I think like Johnny said, I was my parents had instilled in me like stranger danger. I think they didn't want me going out. Like uh, the city that I grew up in isn't exactly like one of the safest cities in the world. So I guess my parents always just never really wanted that. They always told me to stay at home. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably why I got into video games because
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I did have a bike, but I only rode it around like maybe 1 or 2 blocks away from my house. Uh,
Yeah, we grew up in the same town, but just like different ends of the
Oh, uh-huh.
town.
mhm,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and other than that, like just car. When I finally started driving,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I I never took public transportation. I always thought I would get like jumped if I took
Oh.
the bus or something like that. So so
Yeah.
yeah, it was really just car or walk or oh, my sister would drive me a lot. My older
Mm-hmm.
sister because she would she was she was the she was driving, and like when I was still young, my parents would have her take me places, and I think she despised that a lot because she didn't want to be the one driving me around. She just wanted to go out with her friends or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
So for me, same thing. I really didn't go a whole lot of places like through most of my life until high school. When I got into high school, so a lot of that was from my parents, and then transitioning into high school when you started doing, when you're from junior high school to high school and you started to do some of the extracurricular stuff and you had like summer camp and, that kind of stuff, you had to either ask your friends or you had to walk, right? You don't ask your mom or your dad because, oh my God, it's not cool to ask your mom and dad anymore because, hello, like you, like wifey, can you not drop us off there? Can you drop us off at the corner? And my mom used to get so mad. She was like, why? I don't understand. No, okay, just drop us off, and then we'd try to make a quick exit, right? So bye, bye, mom. But like you, I had to go, like you, DJ, and with when Rizaline was the driver, I had to go places with my brother. I could not leave until unless I left with my brother. My brother was the driver of the the two of us. I only have a brother, so it was really difficult to try and convince him to go places if when
Mhm.
I wanted to go places and he wouldn't and he had the car and I used to get so angry. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so mean. I'm your only sister. You don't love me, whatever. So that was always kind of hard to deal with, trying to get other people to drive you around. But we walked around a lot, a lot, a lot. So over
Mhm.
the bridge and that kind of stuff, which was a whole adventure in it of itself. So it's a whole nother story, a whole nother podcast. Okay, so in terms of types of transportation, did anybody take public transportation? Just besides what's that, Johnny?
What does
Two?
that mean?
Two
Well,
times. No,
oh,
2 times.
okay.
Oh.
I
Oh
had
my.
a friend. I was spoiled. I mean, I had grandparents willing to drive me wherever, but
Mhm.
I had a friend who he's like, "Let's go see Robin Hood, the movie." And I'm like, "But that's we don't have a theater nearby." He's like, "No, we'll take the bus." And he showed me how to take the bus. I had no clue how to take the bus.
Right?
Okay, my parents would flip out if they knew I
Oh,
took the
I
bus.
know.
So
Yeah.
he showed me the whole way it works. You take a bus to here and you take a bus to there, and I mean, for a kid, that was kind of cool to learn. And
Mhm.
we went all the way to the Prentice Hills Mall, which is the mall from Back to the Future. If you don't know it,
Oh my gosh.
Ew.
that
Oh,
is the
that's
Twin
cool.
the mall.
Pines.
That is. So yeah, we saw Robin Hood, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
So two times, I went two times on a bus.
Nice.
I did
Anybody else?
Tri-Rail.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know what Tri-Rail is. It's a little train that they have in West Palm Beach. It's like
Oh.
a four-car train, I guess. And it just takes you, I think, from West Palm down to Miami. I think it goes all the way to the end of Miami and then back up to, or like Orlando, maybe. I'm not sure how far it goes, but we used to take that train a lot actually because I had a friend that lived in Miami and so sometimes we'd want to spend the night and hang out, but like my mom didn't want to drive all the way to Miami, or her mom didn't want to drive, so we would coordinate, and my mom would drop me off at the train station, make sure I got on the train, and then get there, and then my friend's mom would be right there waiting for me as soon as I got off,
Mm-hmm.
and call my mom to make sure okay, she got here and everything, and of course don't talk to strangers, don't talk to anybody, that kind of thing. So I always had like a book or like headphones with like a CD player or something, or to keep myself entertained
Mm-hmm.
on the train. But we did use the train quite often, and I maybe I wasn't that young. I'd say throughout like high school or so was when I really started using the train.
Did it have
Hmm.
like? Did it stop at different
Lots
places
of
throughout the whole
stops.
route? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
okay. Because that's similar to like the BART in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, except it kind of goes a couple different ways. But the BART doesn't reach our hometown.
Yeah, we were cut off because the Bay Area is separated by a lot of bodies of water, I guess, and
Oh
so
yeah,
and
that's
so they
true.
they would have had to like
That's true.
put the BART under the water to get to where we live. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we always felt like disconnected growing up to
Aw.
the rest of the Bay Area, the
Yeah.
greater
Yeah.
Bay Area or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like doing, I mean, because we took the car primarily. It's like doing anything other than that would be kind of a special treat. Like, I remember my grandma when I was a kid, before I could drive, she took, she brought us on the bus, and then we went like to the grocery store. And I just thought it was like the funnest thing ever because the bus stop was like behind our house. Or like my friends, uh we would take well in we also have the ferry because of the bodies of water that separate the parts of the Bay Area. So there's a boat that goes from our hometown into San Francisco, and even where we live now there's a ferry boat that goes into San Francisco. So that's like what all the people do for commuting and whatnot. But it would always just be like a fun trip that my
Mm-hmm.
friends and I would do, like in high school, or and then we'd like take like the there's like the cable car,
Oh
or like
yeah.
the
And that's all.
streetcars in
Yeah.
San Francisco too. Um, but I mean, it's all kind of gross. Like the BART is gross. Like
It
it's
is.
you
I've been
see
on
the
the ferry
randos.
before. The ferry is
Yeah,
cool.
the ferry's cool.
The
The
ferry
the
is cool.
BART is
Yeah.
the BART is
Because
a little.
I went to
Our
Just a little.
Alcatraz, and my aunt lives in Napa Valley. So me and my
Yeah.
fiance at the time, we went to the ferries and went straight to San Francisco, and then from there we walked, and then went
Hmm.
to Alcatraz. But it was awesome. I enjoyed the ferry. I could
Yeah.
I could
Alcatraz.
deal with that as a commute compared to be stop and go traffic in LA. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's a lot to
Yeah.
pay for.
Yeah.
It-
I couldn't see myself doing that every day kind of thing, maybe once in a while kind of. Yeah.
I
you
couldn't
get like
either.
paid a big salary. That's nothing to take the ferry.
Yeah.
You
Sure.
know.
So same. I mean, okay. So a lot of jumping on with or jumping rides or hopping rides with friends and that kind of stuff. My mom would never let me take the bus ever. If she found out that I took the bus, she would have had a heart attack. But I had to learn how to use the bus because my brother, used to blackmail me with his, no, you can't drive. I
Ah,
can't take you because, and if you don't listen to me, then I'm never gonna take you anywhere else. I'm like, huh. So I had to learn how to navigate the bus system. I felt like if you guys know the reference of Big Bang Theory when Sheldon would wear his bus pants. Do you guys anybody know that reference? My mom would be like soon one day she did find out that I had ridden the bus, and she was like, "Oh, you got germs all over you now," that kind of thing. And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Where are the pants you wore?" And she literally made me throw them away. I was like,
Dang.
"Wow, mom, that's so extreme." But yeah, yeah,
That's
it's
some next level stuff right there.
serious. And she's her, misconception of bus and public transportation. Yeah, and what are you gonna do? You can't tell your mother. You can't. You just can't. You just can't. No. Anyway, so that was my experience with growing up. I couldn't take the bus. But anyway, I want to just acknowledge everybody in chat. Thank you, Crazy Pac-Man. I think Maru, who was here earlier, and anybody else. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, and I do see you. I've seen some of the follows. Thank you so much for all the follows and for hosting. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If I didn't acknowledge it, please forgive me. I did see you. Thank you. We all see you. Yay. So thank you. Now, okay. So let's segue into what our dream car was. What was your dream car growing up? Anybody can start.
Okay, well, mine's kind of boring. I mean, I was never really a car guy, but I just know that like when I started to get around to like driving and I was looking at what cars I would want. The car that I wanted at the time was the Mini Cooper. Like
Ooh.
as it just dropped. Now that I think about it, it's not a manly car at all. It's not like a but I don't know, because I think maybe it's just because I was just trying to be different because like I went to a school where there were a lot of race heads and they all wanted to like get their rice rockets souped up and stuff like
Rice
that. Like
rockets.
Honda Civics and the WRXs, I think were really big at the time. They still are now, but yeah. So I was like, hey, this is when like the Mini Coopers just dropped recently. They look pretty cool. It's a British type looking car. So I guess that was the type of car that I.
But then your friend got one.
Yeah, but that was later. I was over it at
Okay.
that time.
Oh,
But
okay.
but yeah. So yeah, the Mini Cooper. But now, honestly, I would want a Tesla just because
Right.
Me
I just
too.
I just want a self driving car.
Me
I don't
too.
want to drive anymore. I just want it to drive for me.
I want to sleep to go to work.
Yeah.
Oh God, those that me, I don't sleep. So yeah, for sure. Rizaline, what about you?
Um, I think I've always wanted like a mid-sized SUV. So
Really?
like right now, I for real like have a Honda CRV. Like it's fine. That's just what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I always like something that's a little bit bigger, but not like too big.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me.
Okay. Uh, let's see. And hold on, I'm just gonna switch something over here really quick. And Johnny, what would you consider? What did you want as a dream car?
Back in the day, it would be the 1990 Nissan 300ZX sports car. Without a doubt. Sports car, 2 seats. I got 1 seat. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. I got 1 seat. I'm driving, right? My friend actually bought one when I was about 19 years old or 20.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 2 timing belts on it. This car
What?
kicks butt when it has 2 timing belts in the car, okay?
Oh my
Wow.
So
gosh.
yeah, that would be it. Like nowadays, I'm actually looking at getting Acura NSX, the first series.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
wow.
sell my Honda Accord because I never drive it, but I'm thinking about getting an NSX. I'm looking at some private dealers right now for one. If you don't know
Wow.
what is it? It's Acura, the Acura NSX.
Oh,
Acura is Honda's sport like high-end cars
right.
basically.
Their luxury
But the
car. Uh-huh.
Acura NSX first edition,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Yeah.
1991 to 95, I'm looking at getting one.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's cool.
So I'm curious, how many how was zero to what was the dream car that you wanted as far as mile or speed? Do you know? Oh, did Johnny freeze?
Oh
Or
no.
he's thinking. I don't know.
Johnny! Oh no. are you thinking, Johnny? He's so deep in thought. Johnny?
Yeah,
Oh no.
you must have
I
froze.
think he froze. Oh God. He was so stuck on that statement. uh uh huh. Okay, when Johnny figures out his audio video, wifey, let's go with you. What was your dream car?
So growing up, I remember every summer when my parents would send me to Puerto Rico, my cousin had this car, and it was a green Mitsubishi Eclipse, and it had like a
Ooh.
hood bump. And I don't know why I thought that was like the coolest car. I think because he drove it, and like he would pick me up, and he'd like have his car like smelling nice and like always bright and
Oh,
shiny,
chick
and
magnet.
and he would take me up and down the mountains, like just driving as high speed as he could, and we would open the windows and wind would be everywhere, and I just absolutely fell in love with that car. And I think it's mainly because he drove it, and because
Mm.
I don't know, just I wasn't a car person either, so I don't really know a lot about cars. But just seeing him and just loving that car. And so every time I'd see one, it'd be like, oh, that's the car I want. Like I want that car, just because he drove it. I don't remember the year, but I do remember that it was like a dark forest green
Ooh.
um, Mitsubishi Eclipse, and it had like a little hood bump on the front.
That's so
But
cool.
yeah, that was the car that I really really liked.
Awesome. So
I
I
just
think
I just looked up what a hood bump is to get like a visual. So it's just like a little bump in the hood.
Yeah, essentially just a bump on the
really
hood.
Really?
what's the
That's supposed to
purpose
be nice.
of a hood buff? I'm just curious.
I
More
have no
aerodynamic.
clue.
More
I know it
aerodynamic.
wasn't in the center of the car either. It was like on one side. I don't
Mhm.
remember what side, if it was right or left, but it was like on one side of the car, of the hood.
I
Oh, that's a
think
trip.
maybe some other people might be able to correct me on this, but I think also cars that have hood bumps, like it indicates that they have like a different type of engine, so it
Yeah.
needs more space for that engine or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
So it might be
probably
higher.
like a high
Mm.
revving car kind of thing. Who
Mm,
knows? Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I think we did
Mhm.
lose Johnny. So while he's fixing his audio and video issue, we'll be a little out of sorts here. The tiles are a little different, but it's all good. My dream car, I think at the time, I really didn't have like a preference. I was just like, can I just get a car, you know? But
Right?
later in life, yeah, later in life, or no, not rather later, after I got my first car, which we'll all see soon. But after I got my first car, after driving it for a little while, I figured that my dream car would be a Volkswagen Cabriolet. Do you remember those? Where it was a convertible cabriolet. I used
Yeah.
to think it was so boxy though, you know. Boxy in the back was a little, kind of wide and boxy, and it had the hood, or not the hood, it had the yeah, it
Oh.
had the top that went down. And I used to think, God, I would love to drive one of those. And then later when I drove in my friend's cabriolet and my hair went like this, I'm like, I no longer want a cabriolet. No more. No more. Yeah. I said, nope, nope, nope. And I have a lot of hair, so there's no way. So that to me was my dream car until, you know, for however long, I don't know. But
Do
uh,
you
uh
do you think that they would ever like bring back classic car designs? You know how like a
hmm.
lot of things like they'll do like a throwback and bring back the style of clothing or design of something else, but like cars are always like it's less boxy and more
Right.
like sleek and
Well,
Mhm.
stuff.
there's some examples of like classic designs that they brought back, like the Thunderbirds,
But that's yeah.
the Mustangs. But
But those are
yeah.
like the big American cars.
Oh, so okay. So you mean like more
Like I'm
European?
looking at the cabriolet right now and I'm like would they bring this like literally bring this thing back with its little like thing. It has
Maybe
like
a more
a
modernized
has
like
like a
version of
headband
it.
on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It's like the Beetle car. I used to love those.
Yeah, yeah. But like
You know,
the old,
the old
yeah,
ones.
like the Herbie looking.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
that'd be cool.
Hummer. Oh my
Like
gosh.
that'd be cool if they brought back like another car that kind of had that same shape, or
Yeah.
like a different shape. I don't know, just not like your regular car, or
I think
you
if
know.
they were to bring something back, they'd have to re-engineer it so to some level to make sure it's aerodynamic and that it's gas efficient, right? Those one of the reasons. Oh,
That's
Johnny's
true.
back. Yay. Hello.
Sorry,
There
the
he is.
whole internet went out.
Oh my
Everything went out.
gosh.
It's that data mining you're doing.
No, I'm not mining. Oh yeah, well, two of them are, but that has nothing to do with it.
Live
we
broadcast.
thought we thought you were stuck in thought.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
You that's how you look. we we thought you were stern on your thought there.
I thought it was Annie's stream. I'm like, what did Annie do? But it was me. Uh,
That's so
blame
messed up.
first rule. Blame Annie. Blame Annie.
If all else fails, blame
Yeah.
Annie.
I'm back.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
Okay, I didn't want you to miss this part because we're actually going to have our audience, our chat, get interactive. So those of you who are in chat, it's now your opportunity to pick. Okay,
Car for us.
we're going to show you 5 different cars, and you are going to tell us who you think these cars belong to as our first vehicle, our first car that we ever drove. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. All right, here we go. Transition. Ta-da. All right. So let me go back to my screen here really quick because I don't
Oh, and
remember.
then we don't know either,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like, we all
you
sent you.
Yeah, we
Right.
We
don't
all
know
sent
either.
you our first cars.
Yes, they sent me their first car, so only I have the key, only I have the answers. So you guys can in chat as you type, tell me who A, right? A, who do you think A belonged to, which is the 92 Saturn. B is the 85 Cimarron. C is the 99 Celica GT. D is the 85 Dodge Colt. And E is the 03 Highlander. So now's your time. Type in chat. And panelists, you can also type in chat and tell me who you think whose car belongs to who.
Well,
We'll
I
throw
feel
some
like
music up.
Johnny has like said his car before.
He may
I
have.
could be wrong. I'm staring at it.
So let's do your A, your B, your C, your D, and your E. I think B
Yeah.
is Johnny.
I agree with wifey.
Okay.
Like, which car would Annie have driven first?
I'm curious to know what you guys peg on me.
Oh man.
So let me recap this. The 92 is the A is 92 Saturn, pretty color by the way. B is the 85 Cimarron, Cadillac Cimarron. 99, letter C, is the 99 Celica GT. D is 86 Dodge Colt. And E is 03 Highlander. I will give you guys 1 more minute.
Did you guys like buy your first cars, or were they just like
I
passed on?
did. I actually bought mine at a dealership. My mom came with me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Me too.
I bought it at a
Same
dealership.
exact thing. Mom came with me too. I got it at a dealership as well.
I went with my son to buy his first car in
Aw.
Florida, so it's kind of a trend, right? It's
Yeah.
definitely a
I
trend.
mean, because that's the thing too. When we were like talking about this and prepping, is like our definitions of first car might be kind of different. Like,
Mhm.
I put in the car that was the first one that I drove, or like that I practiced when I got my license.
Ah, okay.
Um, so like
Right.
my parents they got it from someone, so it was used, and then that was the car that I drove the most. But like the first, I mean, if you wanted to go like the first car that I drove, or like first car that I bought, then it would be the car that I currently have. And it's
Okay.
the same thing of like like my dad went with me to the, well, actually, yeah, my dad went with me to the dealer. Or you went with me to the dealer one time too.
Right, but it
Time
was for the
time is
same.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time is up. Okay. I'm curious. Okay. So the answer, let's see how many of you guys got this right. Ready? The
Okay.
answer to number A, or letter A. Whoops, sorry, let me type this in. A is, ready? Ta-da! Wifey!
I was also going by like the year.
Y'all got it right. How come you
Got
got
it
it?
right.
Why
Got
would
it
you?
right.
Why did you think that for me? Why was that my choice or your choice for me?
Which one?
The
It
one y'all
felt
picked, you were correct, but I wonder. I'm wondering why. Like,
Cars tell a little bit about personality,
Yeah.
and
I agree. I agree. I mean, more so the other ones for sure, right? But um I think that the bookends, the A and the E, were like perfectly chosen by you guys. So I'll go through them right now. And B is, you guys ready? Ta-da!
hey, you're right. I was right.
it
Yeah,
looks very very
that was
you.
my car, my first car.
Mm. Uh-oh, did we lose wifey now? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, snap. We're
I
losing
still hear
everybody.
you.
I see your video went out.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you. We don't see your video. Can you guys see her video?
no,
No.
can't.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Oh,
there
Oh,
you
there
are.
you go.
There
she
you
is.
are.
There she
Woo-hoo.
is.
Okay.
There you are.
So, Johnny, I'm curious to know why you chose this car as your first car. Was it just a
I
matter of
didn't.
economics?
You know what? This was my mom's car, and when I got my
Aw.
license, I became the designated driver for everything.
Oh,
But
okay.
I have to say, I love this car. This is my first car, like that I learned that I drove around all everywhere.
Uh-huh.
It's a Cadillac Cimarron.
Okay,
It's like
I
the
was like, yeah,
smallest
what is
Cadillac
that?
they make, right?
It's
Yeah.
so
It
cute.
has like leather interior. Yeah, that car was awesome.
Was it that color too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that exact color. Yeah,
Wow, that's
it's
awesome.
Same
like
with mine.
metallic brown or orange,
Like-
or I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I miss
I've-
the car. I really do miss that
really,
car.
I've
Believe
never
it or
seen
not.
that
Yeah.
car ever. So
Yeah,
But
it's
nice.
the smallest It's the smallest Cadillac car they've ever made. But it's a 4-door. You know.
nice.
Yeah.
All right, here is number or letter C. Let's see if you guys guessed this correctly.
Ah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I'm
Oh,
curious,
yeah, I'm right,
DJ.
too.
Did you ever get stopped by police?
I did.
What? Yeah. How fast were you going?
I had gotten. I only got one ticket with this car. But it was. I was going 86.
But
86.
It
Wow.
wasn't that fast, but whatever.
Only.
I know.
Only.
What
I
on
know.
the on
Yeah,
the, on the
true,
streets
guys.
or on the freeway?
My
It was
my
on the freeway.
my speedometer don't even go past 80. Okay. On my first car.
Well,
That's a sexy car. Tell us about the car, DJV.
yeah,
That's a sexy car. Okay,
I,
I'm sorry. Sound like a GT.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
When I had this car, I was in my prime. I I got this car 3 days before my senior prom.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh
and
snap.
so my first passenger was my prom date to
Ah.
and yeah, I also took this car. I when I first went to college, I took this car to like I started attending like a really far college. It was like in Cupertino, which is about an hour away. So, and I was like, whatever. I get to drive an hour 3 times a week to so, you know, so yeah, that was
What
cool.
happened to
It
it?
had there was like a leather in there's like a cream interior leather.
Ew.
What happened to it? Well, I was on my way to my birthday party and someone ran a red light.
Oh
I was making a left turn with
no!
a green arrow, and it was a Ford. It was a red Ford truck.
They
They
T-boned
ran
you?
they ran the red light. Yeah, I guess so. I was making a turn. No, they hit the nose of the car,
Oh,
and
okay,
so
okay.
the nose collapsed. So I was making a turn, and then they hit the
Oh,
of
bummer.
it.
Dang
Yeah,
it.
so it was totaled. Thankfully, I wasn't hurt or anything,
Dang. Yeah.
but the car itself was totaled.
Sorry to hear
Wow.
that. Dang it.
Yeah,
Oh.
That was your
and the
first
truck
car.
the truck only lost the headlight pretty much.
Shoot. Dang it.
Yeah, truck almost always wins. I
Yeah,
mean,
seriously.
yeah, on these head-to-head things.
All right, now we're going to move on to D. You guys ready for this?
I have an idea.
You do? Oh, God.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay. I bought this car in a dealership with my mom, and it was not a Dodge dealership. It was some like Honda, and they were selling this one. I'm like, oh, I want it. And my mom's like, what? So obviously it was used. And I took this car actually. I was dating my then boyfriend, who ended up being my husband later, but I was dating him, and we took it on a summer trip up the coast to Carmel, Mount Carmel, and into just below San Francisco. And I honestly, we were over the cliffs, and I was like so afraid. He was asleep in the car, and I didn't want to tell him that. I'm like, oh shit. I thought I was gonna I thought I was gonna fall off the cliff. I was so scared. I was so scared. And yeah, so against everybody else's will, they're like, you shouldn't go, we took it, and I don't know how this car made it, but it made it up the cliff and beyond. So, and it was so old, but yeah,
That tiny little thing on the winding road.
yeah,
Ooh.
that tiny little thing against the wind, it braved the elements, and then the trucks that we would encounter on the highway. And I don't know about you guys. Now, has anybody ever done this with their first car? Like over decorate it? Hello, my whole front was nothing but little tiny plush animals
Oh, on the dash?
on the dash.
On the
Oh, you are
dash.
one of those people.
Oh my god.
The ones that have that on the back.
Did you have a bobblehead?
I did.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
It's like, Anthony, do you need to get gas? She's like, I can't tell. The plushie's blocking.
It was so bad. And then imagine when I had to go take it to the car wash. Hold on. Take all this
You
down.
better tip them. You better tip them. That's all they gotta say.
Oh God, it was so bad. So bad. Whew, okay. All right, letter E, by process of elimination, is
It's me.
yay. Letter
Yeah.
E, yay.
We bore that car down. Like my family still had it after I bought my own car, and like it just died a slow death.
I'm
But
curious.
we used it. I like that car. It's not too big, not too small. It had like a tape player and a CD player.
Had it all. Yeah.
I think towards the end, like the AC didn't work, and it would always just blow hot air in the summer.
Oh my
So that
gosh.
wasn't very good.
And the windows didn't work too.
The
right?
window didn't work either.
Oh
Was that
my
the-
goodness.
Oh god.
Wait, did you have auto windows, or did you have the kind of one like this? Because I had the one that like this.
Oh no, it was just the button.
It was the auto windows.
It was the
yeah.
auto window.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I'm curious to know, how many miles did you end up putting on that car?
I don't know. Because did I take that car when I was in college too?
Maybe.
I don't remember either.
Mhm.
Maybe not.
Probably more than 200K.
Yeah, I mean, because we got it used,
Mm.
and then we'd use that car a lot. It was either that or the minivan in my family. So
Wow.
good times. Oh, and then I called her Betty.
Oh, nice. Did any of you guys have a name for your car too?
Mine was Gina. All my cars are named
Yes.
Gina.
Hey,
Come on, Gina. Let's go. Come
Funny
on.
that you
Start,
just
baby.
named your car the same thing.
It was really awkward because one of my best friends, his sister is named Gina. It's like, oh, what's the name of
Nope.
your car? What did you call your car?
That's funny.
Annie, I'm having technical difficulties here for some reason.
Oh no, what's happening? We hear you. We see you. What are you not able to do?
It has me in the nap room.
Oh, but we hear you.
I know, I can't see you guys.
Oh, well then you can. Okay, go out and come back in, the same way
Okay.
that Johnny did. You can go out and come back in. Gina. Oh, now we're switched. Okay, hold on.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
there we go. There we go. Cool.
There we
cool, cool.
go.
There you are. Awesome.
So I wanted to say something really quick about that Saturn that I had. That Saturn gave me trouble.
Oh,
It was
no.
like $3,000 for that car, and it was like one of these little mom and pop like dealerships too. So like, I'm sure they like gave me a really bad car like on purpose. But
Oh my God.
I had a little sunroof, and I remember I was like, oh yes, I have a sunroof, and the day that I decided to open it, it started to rain, and then it wouldn't close. And I'm like jamming the button to make it close, and it would not close, and the rain's just pouring down through the sunroof. And so I finally got it. I don't know how, but I finally got it to close. And then even after like it was closed, like when it would rain, like in Florida, you know, it rains a lot. So, you know, and I remember I had to put like a plastic bag, and then the plastic bag would start to get full of water. And oh my God, it was so
No.
bad. Same thing, my windows did not work. Any of my windows did not work.
Gosh.
Like that car was so bad. I remember we went through a hurricane, and because there was leaks, the whole back seat was like this far with water on the floor. Like I had to like bucket out water, and then like
Oh,
the stench of the, you know, when the car gets wet and stuff, like the smell had to like leave the car open for days. And oh my God, that car gave me so much headache. And it's funny that you said that you drove yours to the ground, Rosalie, because I will never forget that it got to the point where I drive it, and it'd be like I literally would drive it like this down the road. And so I was like, you know what, like I'm done with this car, I don't want it anymore, I'm just gonna take it to the junkyard because it's not worth anything, it's an old car, there was so many issues to that car. And as I drove into the junkyard, it died.
Wow.
Turned off on me, died, it was done, it died.
Like it knew.
It hit
It
surrender
did.
before round 12.
Wow.
It's doomed.
I'm gonna take a wild guess, wifey, but I have a feeling you named the car SOB. What
I
did you
don't
name the
think I
car?
even had. I didn't even have any names. I don't think I think maybe Ruby at once, like when I first got it, and then, but I don't think I ever really used it. Like that's my car's name or whatever.
Yeah, same.
But man, that car gave me so many
Dang.
issues.
That's
So
hilarious.
many issues.
That's so funny.
Mhm.
Okay,
And it's like I've stayed away from Saturn since.
That'll do it. I
We-
believe.
you know, okay, my very, very first car I ever drove was not the Dodge Colt. I actually didn't learn on the Dodge Colt. I actually learned on a Nova. My God, it was so old. It was a 60-something Nova. My parents had two Novas, a blue and a blue and a red one, and that's how I learned. It was a tank. It was a freaking tank. And every time in the car that me and my brother drove, because we would take turns, the front seat was an actual bench, and so was the passenger seat or the back seat. It was an actual bench. So, and that thing had so many fuses off or dead, or there was glitches everywhere. We'd put the key in the ignition, and then no matter who was in the front seat, whether it's just me and my brother, or if we had tons of people, we had a lot of people in the car, we'd always have to go, okay, ready, go, 1 2 3, and he would lift our booties up like this, and then just to be able to start the car, because it had a short in it. It was the funniest thing. And then it had a horrible headlight. The front or the right headlight was always broken or damaged or something, and then when we replaced it, we didn't know that there's a method to this madness. We just thought we'd just buy any headlight and you just throw it in there and it'll work. But one headlight was actually like searchlight. The Batman sign when you see the bat in the movies of Batman, and he would come, it would flash straight up into the clouds. That was our headlight, way up in the clouds. We would be driving, and the headlight over to the left was fine, but the one was up here. And I swear, we used to get people that used to drive up next to us. We're like, yeah, we know. We know. We know. It was the funniest thing. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Highlander. Hi, you guys. Highlander by name. Okay. Awesome. Highlander. Got it? Get it. Okay. So that was a great memory. Now in terms of like, when you got in these transportations, did you go out in groups or like group outings or group dates or how, I mean, what was the majority of what you guys did when you
We're talking about that part of getting around now.
yeah. Yeah, we're getting closer to the other part of getting around. So what was the experiences getting around, like on mostly groups, because that was the only way that I could leave my house. Is I'm going with Ronnie, my brother. So,
yeah.
Anybody?
Well, my car was small, and the back seat was always messy. So I technically was a two-seater, even though
Yeah.
I always had stuff in the back seat, like my jackets and like my CD collection or whatever.
Trash. Food wrapper.
McDonald's.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I get, the thing is, it's like when you mention group dates, my group of friends was never the kind to go on group dates or whatever. I feel like when someone started dating somebody, that's when you would never see them anymore, because then that's when they only spend their time with that person that they're dating. Like they never were like inclusive, like, oh, let's all go out and do something. So usually it wouldn't be like, group, there wouldn't be like group dates. I guess that wasn't really a thing with my friend groups, but uh
I think for us, it was always like if we were planning to go someplace or be someplace, it'll always be like, who's driving? Oh, shotgun in Annie's car, or it'd be one of those things. Everybody would just pile in on
Right.
in available cars. So yeah, that was always our thing for
yeah,
us.
I
Bye,
think like
Highlander.
the people in our friends that had the big cars, we would always say like, okay, you're driving then,
That's
because
true.
you can fit so many more people.
That's true. Especially like the
Right.
ones that had a minivan. Like
Oh yeah.
they were the person. And I was that person sometimes too, because my family would have like a Toyota Sienna, and I'd like bring everyone.
Anybody else? What was some of your like outings or?
Well, for me, for group outings, this is pre-dating, like full on dating. Like if you wanted to see that cute girl, or that girl wanted to see that guy she likes, you tell your parents, you know what? I need to go to the library. Can you drop me off? And it would never be the
Oh
city
God.
library. It would never.
Like
We
a
had a
study.
we had a crappy. No, our city library was a joke, right? It's like, I need to go to the West Covina library, the real fancy with 2 stories or 3 stories, and it's like City Hall. And then it'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go. you know, that would be like a group thing because it would be like, hey, we're gonna meet up at the library at West Covina. Do you want to come? It's like, no, I don't want to. Hey, Melissa's gonna be there. Whoa, let's go. Oh, hey, I need a ride. So like straight
I have
on
homework all of a
dating,
sudden. I have homework.
it's a very non-sus kind of way to meet up with the girls or guys. You know what I mean?
Non-sus.
And
True.
then you have the library, the whole library. It's very like for back then, it was very like non-suspect, you know, and it was innocent.
Communicate though, because
Right.
you got to be
Innocent.
quiet in the
You gotta be
library.
quiet. You
Mm-hmm. That was
You
us
have to
all the
like
time.
whisper to each other.
I'm going to the
know,
library.
whisper sweet nothings while you
Man,
study.
our parents
While you
must have been
study English,
stupid.
study. I need to go study.
That's a different kind of studying.
So for me, that's what the group meetups was.
Okay.
Thank you, libraries.
See, we did this. We did the skating. I used to go to the skating rinks, and they did something called the lockdown. I don't know if you guys ever did something like that, where they did the lockdown, and that was the best because we could spend the night at the skating rink till the next morning.
Wow. Hey.
And so you'd pay like for a
chaperones.
wristband. Yeah, you'd pay for like a wristband that would include like your food for the night.
Is that legal? Was that legal back
Is
then?
it co-ed?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it
and
was co-ed.
They do camping. They would do overnight camping and stuff. But that's really wow.
Dang.
yeah, it was called the Palace. I'll never forget it. It was called the Palace in West Palm Beach, Florida. And now it's a furniture store, so it's really sad. But
Oh my goodness.
but yeah, I remember that we would get dropped off, and we would skate till I don't know. I think it was like till midnight or 1 a.m. or something like that. And then what they would do is they would have everybody, stop skating. Everybody would take off their skates or whatever, and then it become like a kids club because they put music and lights, and so we would all be dancing and in the skating rink. And then at like another, I don't know, maybe they did that for like another hour or so, and then they bring a screen down and they would play a movie, and then that's when everybody would get there. We would bring sleeping bags and blankets and pillows and all kinds of stuff, and you'd see like everybody just sleeping all on the skating rink.
The
I
couples
know,
go
right? It's
missing.
kind of gross if you think about it, but yeah,
right?
that's
What was the
yeah.
age range?
Yeah,
like,
that was high school, so anywhere between like freshman to senior.
ooh.
Wow. Wait, I mean,
Like all the dark corners, right?
I know.
Oh my
Wait a minute. Did
gosh.
they
I mean,
have
there were a lot
chaperones?
of there were a lot of not chaperones because parents weren't allowed to stay.
Oh,
But the
snap.
workers, people who worked
Oh,
there.
those are worse.
But a lot
Oh,
of them
I
probably
saw
like
nothing.
students too. It's like give you a few tickets. Because a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff is high schoolers too. Usually at
Oh my
these
goodness.
skating
Well,
rinks.
where we went, they
Teenagers
were
together.
mostly adults. Like the people who worked there, they were older people, and we actually knew the owner too because a friend of mine knew them or whatever. But we knew the owners as well, and which was hard for me because they kept more tabs on me. The fact that we
No
didn't know
dark
the
corners
owner,
for you.
and they were always there. Like they were always at the skating rink. Working and doing stuff, and so but I remember that the people that worked there, they would walk up and down as we're all sleeping, like watching the movie.
As
would-
they should.
They would
Yeah,
come
yeah.
up and down with flashlights and stuff, and if anybody was getting too close, they'd make them move over and stuff like that. But and then early in the morning our parents would come and pick us up. Yeah.
It's just like, oh god.
Well, what was too close? Then? What exactly? What
Oh,
counts as
God.
too close?
6 feet.
I know, right? No matter what, we would, it was always like, "Ooh, we're cuddling," that kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Oh
Okay,
my
this is
Lord.
wifey growing up. Her dad, you can't watch
Oh, I
at the skating derby. Oh, go ahead.
we didn't hear you. What did
My
you
dad
say?
didn't really know what was going on. I don't even think he really knew. My mom covered for me a lot, so I don't even think he knew what was going
Yay,
on.
mom. Yay,
Oh
mom.
my gosh, game on, mom.
Yeah,
High five,
for
mom.
real. For real.
Mom
Oh
was
my
the cool
goodness.
mom.
Mom was, yeah.
No scary movies. You could spend all the nights at the skate junction, but no scary movie.
Yeah, right?
Oh my goodness. So let's see. For the interest of time, we're probably going to power through some of the other questions, guys. So, what I'm curious to know, what age, did you all start driving? Let's do that really quick.
What is the age now? Like 16? 16,
I think 16. Yeah. I mean, were you legally like driving at 16 or because back in the day for us, me, the earliest that anybody could drive or do the driver's ed or driver's training at the time was 15 and I was 15.
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
15 and a half, 16.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there's like a provisional time, like you're supposed to not drive people for like the first 6 months,
Right.
but this was the time that I was like being the carpool, so I was like picking up some people and
Mhm.
giving them a ride, even though I probably wasn't supposed to.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that kids' parents were just like okay with that.
Yeah, really. Well, they don't care because it's one way to get
I'm
your
not driving
kid to
anymore.
school.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
for me,
trusted me.
full disclosure, I hold nothing back. You know this about me, guys, right? You pretty much
Oh.
know this. I'm gonna say it. I never took driver's ed. Now, in the early
Oops.
90s, they stopped doing driver's ed, and I was
Yeah.
screwed because I couldn't even take it. I'd have to get my parents to pay for it, and there was no schools back then. So
Mm.
what I did is my sister took driver's ed, and I forged the little green paper, say that you
Oh
completed it.
my
I
God.
forged my name, Johnny, John,
Terrible.
over it, and I
Telling.
gave it to them. They're like, and I got my
Oh,
license. And my
Wow.
sister didn't even have her license at the time. I got the license first, and she was so pissed that within 3 months she went out. She had a car. She had no license, right? Because she failed the first time she took it, and she was kind of pissed and depressed, right? And then when I got it on the first try, she was so pissed. She got it within 3 months. So
Oh my
that was
man.
gosh.
I'm her motivation. Her
You're
little brother, the
mischievous.
motivation.
Your motivation.
That's hella funny.
Yeah,
What a,
yeah.
what
But
a,
you got to understand, I was screwed because they stopped doing it. In the early 90s, they're like, screw the students, no driver's ed. I'm not paying for that.
But then they brought it back, right? Because I
No,
did some kind of.
not in
no,
Cali,
I
not in
think
Cali. I don't
because
think.
in schools, when I was in school, I actually had to take one full year, 1 year of driver's ed, which is the classroom
Same.
training, right? Where you did the paper training, right? You learn
Hmm.
from a book.
Mhm.
And then the second one was the driver's training, where you're actually behind an
Behind the wheel, yeah.
assimilation. You're behind an assimilation, and then you're out on the. They actually had student driver cars out in the lot
Yeah,
at my school. So, and
they
then
stopped it in
yeah.
'91 in
Oh yeah,
California. In Southern California, they just got rid of it altogether. It was
Huh.
terrible.
Because
yeah.
I
Like,
did like online. I did one of them online, which was probably driver's ed,
Mhm.
and then driver's training was behind the
but you
wheel.
needed the behind the wheel. The behind the wheel is what they got rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Just
driver's training. Yeah, yeah,
they've
yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they've changed it a lot since
Hmm.
even in recent years.
I
Mm.
still see student drivers here sometimes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
see the
those you
sign
have
on
to
their
pay
car.
for the
But those are
yeah,
private ones. You have
private
to pay
ones.
for
Right.
Yeah.
it, and it's like
Right.
$1,000. But see, back
Mm-hmm.
in the '90s, they didn't have a lot of the schools. So when they cut off the school doing the behind the wheel
Mm-hmm.
certification,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't do it basically.
I was pretty
So
lucky. Yeah, I was one
I
of the
did, I
few.
did out of necessity, not because I like playing with the law, but I wanted my license. Darn it.
Where there's a will, there's a way for you. That's for sure.
Yes.
And wifey, what was your experience with or how old were you when you first started driving?
I think I was a senior in high school, so I was kind of late in the game. I was already like 18
Mm.
when I started, and I started with my dad teaching me first,
Oh.
which taught me wrong because he would drive stick, and you know
Oh
with stick you
Oh,
put both feet,
Right, right.
but yet he was driving an automatic car showing me, but with putting both feet.
Oh, I think that's yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so
no.
then that's how started learning. And then one day my mom's like, oh, let's practice. And she would take me to like a park where it was like an empty parking lot. And
Yeah.
she'd be like, okay, switch. And then she saw me put my feet. She's like, what are you doing? Why are you putting your feet like that? And I was like, that's what dad taught me. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, no. Like, so then she took over and started teaching me how to drive. But yeah, I
Oh.
was 18 when I started,
Mm-hmm.
and mainly because I was getting a job and I was going to college, and so I needed ASAP, like to learn quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already done the same thing through school, through driver's ed, So I had that. I just hadn't actually gone behind the wheel yet and really practiced or was taught. So, and then right after that, I took my license and or my test and got my license right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah,
Right.
I was pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
That's not that
That's
late.
yeah.
I feel like a lot. There's a like I had friends from high school. They went to school in Southern California and they didn't need to really drive, so they got their license when they're like 20 something. I would
Mm.
think.
Yeah,
Or they're
my kids could care less about their license. My oldest is 17,
yeah
and I'm like, let's go do it.
yeah. My
And
cousin is like
why?
that.
They
Yeah
got people picking them up,
They got
dropping them
Lyft and
off.
Uber.
That's
yeah
why they don't want
It's
it.
Yeah.
like I didn't have that kind of crap. I'm walking. I'm
Yeah.
hitting the
It's a
road.
responsibility, and then have to pay your insurance and have to pay. Yeah, of course they don't
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
expensive.
true.
It
It
gets more
is. Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm offering to pay, but they're just like,
They're like, no,
no
it's all right.
thanks.
No
Oh,
thanks.
the famous words, no thanks.
Wow.
Hey, do you want to eat some of this? No thanks. Do you want your license? Let's go get it. No thanks.
Well, huh.
Oh
Oh
man.
gosh. Okay, so we know that transportation, at some point became hand in hand,
Excuse me.
almost, a necessity with dating because, when you first start dating, let's go back to the way in which you first started dating. I guess the question is, how old were you when you first started dating? And then like where was your first date? I'm curious to know first of all, how old you were when you first started dating? Where was your first date, and how did you get there? If you guys can remember that.
I mean, I so I mean uh I don't think I really had like actual first dates in like high school. It was more like, okay, there's like a Filipino festival in town that meets at some public area, and I'm going with my friends. Like, are you gonna
Are you
boy
gonna be
person
there too?
gonna be there? Or like it's the 4th of July and there's a community. It was always just like a public community thing. And I remember one time, like I was so bummed because I was there, but like he wasn't there. Like I was like crying. I was being all dramatic, like listening to like Adele
He
or something.
ghosted you.
But it was just it was like it was that kind like of like weird coordinating because it's like before like a little bit before texting was more common and or we would go to like the plaza, the shopping plaza that had the movie theater and all the food places and like hang out at like Wendy's and like I was like, oh my gosh, like that's the Wendy's where I was with the dude or so I guess Wendy's, I don't know.
Wendy's. Oh my
But
gosh.
it was that. I didn't really get to date.
Yeah, well, our city was pretty boring, where
Yeah.
there weren't like things like arcades or um skating rinks or whatever that people like young people would traditionally meet up at.
It was the
Uh-huh.
Um
plaza
well, yeah,
where all the
which is
boppers would
just where
go.
where the movie theater
The
is and
titty
where
boppers.
the stores are. But I think for me, like also when it's like when you're younger, you don't really want to tell your parents about like your first forays into relationships. At least that's how I always was. I feel like Risley was the same way. Um, so in some ways, I was kind of the same where I would just like we have a Six Flags in our city,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and that's the famous place for young people to like go
That's
and like
true.
hang out with
Ah, makes
you know
sense.
with
Yeah.
the other young people.
You guys would challenge each other,
Mhm.
Yeah, my friends and I, would be like, How many numbers can you get?"
Oh my gosh. The
Gosh.
conquest.
Oh my gosh.
Did you have like a little black book?
More like a little back sheet of paper,
blank sheet of paper.
Black sheet.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Well, thank
yeah.
you so much for the follow for the thank you so much for the host, Summer. Hi, nice to see you, Winter
Summer,
Soul as well.
summer.
Summer. Wifey, where was your or what age did you start dating and
So
where was your first date?
I think my real like first date, I was a freshman in high school, so I was about 15. And it was very embarrassing because we ended up wanting to go to the movies, and I begged and begged my parents. Of course, my dad was super strict, so he a lot of times was didn't even know what was going on. And so begged my mom, please, I want to go to the movies, and I have this guy that I like, and he's inviting me to go,
You
and
told?
all this stuff. And I really wanted just to like get dropped off, but she was like, no. She's like, you're not just gonna get dropped off. And I'm like, but I really want to go. And so she ended up making like a family deal over it, and like all these family members came, and they were literally we had we sat like in the top, and like they were all on the bottom row, like right next to us. And I'm like, oh my God. And I felt so embarrassed. And I told like the guy, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know this was even gonna happen like till last minute. But like she
Bruh.
invited like my aunts and cousins, and
What was
everybody's
the
like at
movie?
the movies. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm trying to go on a date.
I'm trying to get
Everybody's there, and then like
Must
I
have been
see
a
my
really
cousin
good
like look
movie.
back at me a couple times, and I'm like, oh my God, like it was so embarrassing.
I'm
But
trying
that
to
that
get
was
my
like my
Mac on
real
here.
my real first like date was like with my family, like they were my chaperone.
Rizalina asked, what movie was it that you saw? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't
I'm like,
remember.
what movie would compel the aunts and the uncles to all
I
come
don't
out?
remember. I wish I could remember, and I do not remember. It must have been something that we all wanted to see.
Oh
I
my lord.
hope so.
Your date must have been so intimidated. Like honestly,
No, and actually, he became my boyfriend for a good like 3 years after
Oh
that. So
wow.
I guess he was okay with it.
That
He
is
was
so
family
funny.
oriented.
He was broken
Hilarious.
Yeah.
in already. You got to keep him for a
Yeah.
little while. What about
I
you, Johnny?
I think I kind of got thrown into dating. I was in the 7th grade. I was probably 12 years old, and this girl
What?
liked me.
Oh wait, I
No,
have
Great
to
this
man.
check.
girl, yeah, this girl liked me, right? So she would have her friends come to me and be like, "Hey, she wants to get with you,"
Ooh.
and it's like, and they're like, "What do you think?"
Hey.
I'm like, "She's all right." And then before we knew it, by the next week, we were a couple. We
Wow.
were like the couple in junior high. And so like every day was like a date because I'd walk her home. It's like that's
Walker
what
home.
started dating for me for the most part.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
so
You
It's
carry her books.
like minimal contact,
yeah,
right? Like that's
I'm a great guy. I carry her books, keep her company,
Ah, you're
make her
so
laugh,
chauvinistic.
hang out with her
Aww.
fam. And yeah. So
Ah.
I won't
So,
I won't say anything more. There's more to the story, but I don't want to get into that.
ooh.
Keep it
oh
PG.
snap.
Keep it PG.
Whoa.
Uh-oh. Give us the X-rated
PG.
version later.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I was just like thrown into dating. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. So
I think I was
How about you,
12
Nanny?
when I had my first boyfriend, but then it wasn't even necessarily like a date. We just like met, see you at school. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That's what dating was like then for me was, oh, so and then at the time dating, you guys, dating wasn't even a word. It was, are you going around? Are you going around with her? that's
going
Oh.
that's
together?
the terminology for dating is like,
Are you
I'm
going
going around with
together?
him. I'm going around with him. Oh, you are? I'm like, what the heck? Who made that up is beyond me. But my first real date was because I could not leave the house, remember, without my brother. And my brother always wanted to go to the bowling alley because one, there was a game that you bowl, but then there's also the arcade. So he it was like feed two birds with one grain kind of thing. So he always wanted to go to the bowling alley. So I actually told my date at the time, which actually is my he ended up being my husband later, but I told him, meet me at the bowling alley. And that's how we got to our first date, was at the bowling alley, because I had to go with my brother, and then I met him, and then we bowled for a little bit, right? And then we went in his car and we went and had dinner, and then we had to come back. We had to synchronize our watches, you guys. Be back here at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay. My dad gave us a curfew at 1 o'clock in the morning. What parent does that? I'm like,
One o'clock in the
I
morning.
know,
Wow.
Wow.
very
seriously.
generous.
Seriously, because he said to us, he asked us, he goes, so what time should I give you curfew? And I'm like this, well, other kids parents are giving them to 1. He goes, okay. He had no idea. He had
Oh
no.
my
Oh
Wow.
my.
gosh. It's all you though. You schemer.
I know.
Schemer.
We totally schemed my dad. So yeah, we would synchronize our watches, and we had to be back by 1 o'clock, and that was my transportation to my first date. Was
Wasn't
with my brother.
curfew 10:30? You'd be arrested.
Yes, I think
You
so.
can no. They can pull you over and detain you for being under 18, and you have a 1 a.m. curfew.
Yeah, we had a 1 a.m. and
That's
one
it.
time.
Read the note. Dad says it's okay. Read the note.
Right,
Read.
exactly. And one time we were so late, we got home at 2 o'clock in the morning. Me and my brother were crapping our pants the next morning. My dad didn't know. He just goes, "Did you get in at 1?" We're like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Okay." And we're looking, rolling our eyes, going, "Oh my god, oh my god!" It was so funny.
Sheesh.
So
So
funny.
funny. Okay, so now in terms of like going out and I mean, like, did you have to? I had to. I had to go with a sibling. I had to go. There were no chaperones, but I had to go with siblings. Sounds like wifey, your first date, you had to go with a chaperone. But I mean,
Lots of
Multiple
them.
chaperones.
yeah,
Lots of chaperones.
lots of
Multiple.
chaperones. At what point did that stop? Like, did they just like go, okay, you can go on your own now? And I think it.
I wasn't even till like senior prom.
Oh, what? Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever really. I mean, aside from like going to the skating rink, that I would get dropped off or whatever, and but to them, that's like being with all your friends, not really going on a date with a guy on your own, right?
Right.
So, but really, I don't think I was really even allowed to go anywhere because I had such a strict father. So I really wasn't able to, go out with a guy on my own or anything like that. But senior prom was really the the only real time that I was able to actually get picked up by a guy and go to the prom. Well, we went to dinner first and then go to the prom, and
Promising.
and we went to an after party afterwards, and same thing, they like gave me like a late curfew, and I was like, oh my god, like I actually have like a late curfew for once, because my curfew was 9 o'clock at night, whether it be weekends or
Oh.
weekdays, it didn't matter.
You had to
Like
start
I
at
had
three
to be
o'clock in
in
the
bed by
afternoon.
9 o'clock at night.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
my father was very strict. He didn't play. So
So
for me to have that at prom, like I was like surprised.
wait, if you
But
had
I guess because I had already turned 18, so maybe that had something to do with it.
if you had a 9 o'clock curfew, how early would your dates have had to start? Like 3, or
I
I'm just
know,
kind of curious.
early. Yeah, early
Wow,
at
like
like
yeah.
6 o'clock,
Unpaid.
5 o'clock.
Jeez.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah. That's
But
a
the only
trip.
exception was when we would go to the lock-ins at the skating, and at that point, my dad thought I was like spending the night at my cousin's house or something. So,
Oh my goodness.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, clock. That's when everything are right. What about you, Johnny? Anybody else? As far as siblings and chaperones, I mean,
You know what? I have to be honest. I think boys and girls are treated differently. I never really needed
yeah,
to have a chaperone. As long as they
true.
knew where I was, that's all that mattered. My girlfriend's sister drove, so she would drop by a lot, and we would go with her a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, no chaperones. And then it got to be a point when it got old. When I got older, I didn't tell my parents where I was going, and they didn't like that. And
Ooh,
as a parent now, I understand where they're coming from. They just wanted to know where I was. That's
of
it.
course. Yeah, they just want you
But
to be
like
safe.
my kids now, they don't want to tell me what they're up to. They think that if they don't tell you that it's not lying, but it is. Let's face it. So as a
Yeah.
parent, it's like it's coming back to me. It's karma.
Yeah.
So, and I tell
All
my
right.
kids all the time, I don't care. You're not going to get in trouble, but just let me know what's going on. Let me know what's happening. You know what I mean? Because I tell them, if you're honest with me, you're not going to get in trouble, no matter what you have to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you guys, Riz and DJ? Did you?
I well, I'm the older. I have two younger brothers, but it is like when one of them was dating and stuff. It's like I wasn't a chaperone for them, like because I was dating also. But
You're like you're crapping my
I
style.
no, I'm trying to think. Like I don't think it was a lot of group outings. Also, I think it was. I mean, the first time I was more like on my own and like more independent was like in college, and so it's like learning how to drive and like being in college was like dating like on like solo like
Mm-hmm.
dinner and a movie kind of deal.
Right.
Um, but it is also the flip side, like that's how you know
Make
when
you
you get
go.
kind of older, like when you become the chaperone for something. And like we started, like DJB and I would be trusted to be the chaperone for like kids that we know. And then and they would pull the same stuff, like they would like all go to the movies. Like one time we were on a road trip somewhere, and a parent of the kids calls us and he's like, hey, like, are you guys at the movies with the kids? And we're like, no. Like we're in like the middle of nowhere on a road trip, and like they were on they pulled a sneaky and all went to the movies, and like
Wow.
they were
They
they all brought their dudes and
Oh,
yeah, because
snap.
I was at the time teaching a music program for young, like
like middle school, high
middle
school.
school, early teenage um kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so occasionally, like, we would just hang out with them or something like that. Sort of like a mentorship type program. But yeah, like they just would some we found out that they would tell their parents that they were out with us
Oh my
when they were
God.
really going out with other,
Yeah, just
to
themselves.
yeah. And I had to talk to them. Rizaline and I, like, we agreed to sit down and talk to them, and tell them, you guys can't do that. Like, you're making us responsible for you when you tell your parents that you're out with us, and if something happens to you, like, then we become responsible when we didn't even know. You know, I had to tell them, but we agreed to tell them together, and Risley didn't feel comfortable saying
I
anything.
didn't.
I had to pull the I had to pull a dad lecture, and
I know. I became passive.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how scary to get that call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Well, I
goodness.
mean, yeah, but for me though, like, my sister drove, like I mentioned earlier, but she would never I would never want her to, like, chaperone or anything, because she was never on my side when it came to things like that. If there was anything, she would immediately tell my parents. Like, she would tell on me to my
Right.
parents if anything happened. So I was like, no, I'm not even gonna bother with that then. I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
gonna. Or she would, just she didn't like driving me around anyway, so I would just always hear her, like, get upset out of the fact that she had to drive me. So I was like, never mind, don't worry
Never
about
mind.
that.
Never mind. Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in. I didn't go out
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah. Well, so we definitely have seen like the faces of dating, back when, and so like transition to today. Let's fast forward to today. So dating then, whether you were introduced by, friends, or you met in group outings, or at school even, right? That's a lot of where dating happens, is from school, because you're in close quarters with one another. You see each other from across the hall, and that kind of thing. But what about dating today? Because especially now, this past year, let's say, because of pandemic, I mean, what does dating now look like? And I mean, I've not dated since my divorce, since what, 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Yeah, 2016. So 5 years. So I don't even know what dating looks like today. Pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, or in, mid-pandemic, I still don't know what dating looks like, because I haven't been on a date ever. So in 5 years. So I've never I've used apps before, but it's not the same. So I mean, what's your ideal, like, way of, what does dating look like to you today? I guess is my question. For some of you, you guys are already, either married. Well, you're both, two of you, or guys are, three of you guys are married. But for like myself and Johnny, I'm just kind of curious as to know, like, what does dating look like today? And
Yeah, it's it's kind of a mix talk. Well,
mm,
because like
mixed talk.
yeah, like we're I mean, we've been dating and we've married. Um but like we've seen how it's been for some of our friends.
We still
Like
go on
we
dates.
do, but it's different.
Aw.
It's different from dating and like to find a person, like
Yeah, sure.
definitely uh there's a lot more online. Um I think I remember I would babysit for a couple. This was like 5 years ago, and they had kids, and they met on like eHarmony, and like I was a college student, and I was just like, oh wow, like that's unique, but it's like it's it's a lot more common. I feel like and a lot more accepted, but I think it seems like a lot of people still want the old school way of like
Sure.
meeting someone through friends or happenstance or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always say like I don't know if I would. I say like I'm thankful that Rizline and I are married now because I would hate to try to date today,
Yeah.
because everybody is like, um, now it's like Tinder and stuff like that, and I don't know if I could handle that. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
handle the whole
Swipe left
putting
and
myself out there and just thinking like, oh, thinking like right now, this very moment, someone's like swiping away from me. Like that just feels like, oh, I don't know.
Well, and then there's also the different apps. Like there's
Yes.
Tinder and Bumble and Hinge and
Right.
Coffee meets
OkCupid.
bagel.
And
Like, and it's like
let's
different. Like this one is to hook up, and this one is like a little more
they have
serious.
like
Or
Grinder.
farmers only.
Farmers only. You don't
Yeah.
have to be
ah!
lonely. At
yeah, I don't.
farmersonly.com.
Oh my gosh. Or eHarmony. You
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I don't think so. I put myself out there and now I'm like, oh no, let's turn these things off. Well, you want to hear something sad, you guys? And my kids
Aw.
are probably going to listen or hear it, or my family's going to hear it. One time, I kid you not, I was on my one app and I was going through it for the heck of it. And guess who pops up on my screen?
Your ex
My
is a perfect
ex.
match. It's a
Ah,
perfect
yeah.
match.
Oh my god.
Well, it's better. No, it's better to hear them like your brother pops
Oh
up. That's
snap!
creepy.
That was really creepy and funny because I popped up on his and he actually sent me a screenshot and I go, "Oh, this is the end. We're turning this off now." It was too
Wow.
funny. But yeah, Johnny, what do you think? Or DJ, you guys you had said something about apps today. DJ, you made me laugh when you said, or even now today, somebody could be swiping that. That's
Yeah,
yeah. I just fear
yeah.
that people are just gonna like I've gotten messages that were creepy, just creepy, and you're like, oh, I don't think so. Or when they come up and they say, oh, your match is like this, and they show me my match, and I go, how? How are you my match? How? It's so
Right?
scary. So scary. I'm sorry. Johnny, what about you?
Um, First of all, I want to say I give props to any couples that are married.
Right?
I no, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
There's a new study out, and it says it's a world study, and it's like 6.5 men out of 1,000 are willing to get married. You know what I mean? Because relationships have evolved. People want what they want now. They don't want to give. There's no give and take. I mean, um, looking back, the way dating used to be, as far as back in the day, a lot of times you would meet people through your friends
Right.
and family, and they would like talk you up, or they would help you out, or you know what, you would meet. So there's that interconnection you have because you're friends with this person, they're friends with this person, you have the same social circles. And I think today's with technology, and it's not all bad, don't get me wrong. I've used some of the dating apps in the past, and I've had some really wonderful girlfriends using them before. And you get some psychopaths. I mean, it's like give and take. But I think with the big difference is technology for the most part makes it very inconsequential and very impersonal for the most part. People want what they want now. They don't want to wait. They don't want to work for it. And it's kind of sad. I have to admit, it's kind of sad.
Mm,
But I mean, it's hit or miss.
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
the truth.
What if your kids were to come to you and say that they're on a dating app? What would you tell them? Just curious.
I would say have a girl that you trust to approve your pictures.
To approve your
Fair.
pictures.
No,
Okay.
it's true. A girl, if you have, okay, this is Johnny's advice here. I'm gonna put it out here, and I've told other people this. If you're a girl and you're on a dating app, have a guy that you trust to approve the pictures you put on there, because he
Yeah.
will be honest with you and be like, yes, yes, no,
Right.
no,
That's
no,
true.
no.
That's very
And the
true.
same thing with a guy. You
Peer
know what? If
review.
you're a guy and you're on a dating app, have a girl that you trust to approve what pictures you're gonna put out there. She's gonna
Right.
know what's gonna work, what's gonna not. Don't just
Mhm.
be throwing stuff out there. You think, oh, this all my friends like this on Facebook. No, no, no,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
no.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get advice from your female, or the person of the opposite
That's the
sex that you
yeah,
thing.
trust.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like how people have they take professional pictures for LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Like you could take pictures for dating profile,
True.
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
if you wanted to. But yeah, I mean I think like well, I mean it's like it's not the same as dating, but all of us have connected virtually
Mhm.
online.
Right.
So the way like this whole I think and even this past year like we've gotten used to online and connecting with people never met in person but just through the
Right.
screen. So like
Mhm.
I would want to hope that it's more accepted. But
Mhm.
but it's also like not like this isn't a dating app. Like this is like a
Mhm.
social kind of connecting. So maybe it'll those kind of social circles, friend groups, virtual can still lead to some kind of relationship things for people. Like
Mhm.
it'll
I'm
be
sorry. I just
more
want to say, Crazy Pac-Man said, I'd throw some abs in there with my cutout face.
I know. I was
No, that's
so
called catfishing.
catfishing for
That's a whole
real.
other show.
Oh my god. For real. Oh Lord, I was viciously catfished. So FYI.
Ooh,
Oh,
I know.
really?
Yes, yes.
It's a
oh
thing.
It
no.
was so
It's a
bad.
thing.
So bad. What about you, wifey?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I mean,
Cause didn't you and your husband like he like messaged you on Facebook or something? But you
Yeah,
guys
but
like knew each
we
other,
knew
right?
each other since high school. So
Right. Yeah. But
since
he
I've
still
never
slid
really
into the DMs.
oh,
true,
see,
true,
yeah, see. So
true.
it's
But it's
in a sense
it's
it's
like
an
I didn't
app.
really go through the online dating or using any apps except for just the Facebook. But it wasn't like meeting someone I didn't know. Like it was kind of like reminiscing on the past of being in high school, and even though we technically it's like we knew who each other were. Like I knew who he was, he knew who I was. We had the same friends. We just never really spoke in high school. We never really we didn't date or anything like that. So it was like getting to know him, but through our conversations was mostly reminiscing about the past and being like, oh, do you remember this person? And do you remember that friend and this friend? And
Oh
that's
no.
kind of how
Uh-huh.
our conversations kind of flowed that way. And then of course you start sharing individual stories and getting to know each other. But um, I never really had to go through anything. I've had friends who do, and I admire them because it's hard. And I know, like, I've had a friend of mine who she's gone through so many apps and have tried, you know, meeting up with different people, and they'll put a picture on there that they look a certain way or edited, and then they see them in person. She sees them in person, and it's really not what they look like in person.
Mhm.
Um, and she's had such bad luck, with it. And so I give her props because it is harder nowadays. And especially if you have a really hectic job. She works at the hospital, so she has very odd hours. So even to her, even like before like COVID and whatnot, she really only could do online because that's the only time she really had was to use an app, to find someone to talk to and see if she could find someone compatible. Until this day, she still hasn't had any luck. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's not easy. I'm sure, people who use it now, it's hard, and you don't really truly know the person, and then you meet them, and then they're not what they say they were, or they just put things on their profile that you want to hear, not necessarily what their real things are. And so I don't know, that must be hard. I really do give props to people who use it, because I am very blessed and lucky that I didn't have to go through that.
Well, that's
And if
interesting.
you,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I, I'm at that age where I forget what I'm gonna say, but so if I don't get it out, I'm not gonna remember what I was gonna say. It was really good too, but never mind. Sorry, my bad.
Soon as that.
Do you ever walk into the room and you're like, what am I doing here? What was I? Something important as I came in here. What? I,
I gotta go
yeah.
back.
And then like 20 minutes later, you're like, oh, I need to grab the keys to do that, and it's like, ah, yeah, sorry. Just
Well, I would want to say like it does make me wonder if like if it would if there would be normalcy around like friends kind of helping to find people for people. Like I
yeah.
have friends who are
Oh,
single
mm.
and it's like I don't know people, but like I wish there was some way for me to help them find people like
Right, right.
through my network. But then it's like they have to be okay with it. Like it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the person. Like I'm not gonna just like make a Tinder profile for my friend without telling them. Like that's
Hmm.
messed up. But
Mm-hmm.
it would be because because it is a lot of like knowing someone who know like it's community based. So it's like why like then let's utilize the community.
Mm-hmm.
Before Rizzaline and I started dating, I actually had low key asked her to hook me up with somebody. I was
Oh.
like, "Do you know anybody?"
Really?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I was like,
And
oh, I went,
she was like,
yeah.
"I don't know
No,
anybody."
I was like, I went to college with this girl,
You
and I
did
was
not
like,
say that. You didn't say any of that. She just said, "I don't
no.
know anybody."
And then like my and then
Really?
my dad said like one of my cousins or something in the Philippines or something.
Never heard any of that.
It's because she was like, I don't know anybody because I want to date you.
I
Well,
I don't
know. There
know
you go. There
nobody.
you go.
because that's the thing too. Like
That's
you gotta
true.
think of like who would be compatible. Who do you
Mm-hmm.
know that would be good with who you know?
Right.
Which
Yep.
could also be like very
Sure,
disastrous.
yeah,
So
because you don't want to be the person that starts a storm. You know what I
yeah,
Yeah,
mean?
that's
there you
Like you
go.
true.
put two people together that shouldn't be
That's
and
true.
don't belong together or anything. You
But
know?
Yeah.
you know what? Some of the strongest relationships that I've seen, for the couples
Mm-hmm.
that I personally know, it's always through friends. Like
Yeah.
my friend, he knows my other friend, and he works with this girl, and he's like,
Hmm.
"You two would be perfect together." And sure
Mm-hmm.
enough, like my best
Yeah,
friend and his wife, they're perfect for each other. And
yeah,
it's like any relationship. It's like you got to work at it. But
yeah.
you know
Let
what?
that
You
be a
sometimes
thing.
you can't try so hard. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
old saying, when you're not looking for something, it
Yeah.
it finds you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
same thing with relationships. Don't
I
make it like a job. It shouldn't be a job. It should,
true.
it's like anything. If it's a job to try to find dates and find that right person, then you're not doing it right. It shouldn't be that way at all.
Very, very true.
Right.
Since I know this is not a relationship podcast, but since we're on this topic, I just want to quickly say this in terms of like dating. So since I've been single, and I've kind of found out that I've came to learn to know who I am. It was very eye opening in the last 5 years. There's so many things that I've done since the divorce, like my YouTube channel, the podcast, the Twitch stream, Discord, all that. I could never do that. Never do that when I was married. There was just no way, because it just wasn't the same things that that he was interested in. So coming into myself and realizing who I am, spending the time now that I do here, this is my world right now, which is podcasting, which is my Discord is huge. That is definitely my world. Streaming is definitely my world. This is my world. So this is how I want to be, and this is so I feel like the person that I'm going to meet, I think, needs to be able to understand that or needs to be on board with that, you know?
Mhm.
And if
Right.
they're not,
Yeah.
then, you know, I'm not in a hurry. Believe me, I am not in a hurry. And I don't think I want to, you know, rush things. I just want that person to be comfortable with who I am and, you know, and what I do. And I love the bonding. I love the bonding that we do in the streams, in the discords, and you know, in the chats and such. So, and that will forever, I think, be a part of my world. So, you know, any of y'all want to be a part of that world, you can just jump on in the Discord. I'm just saying, I'm not putting myself out there. I'm just letting you know, this is the part of my world, and this is how it's going to be for at least a long time. So,
I
that
think
to me,
it's really important, like especially my husband and I, even though he's a gamer, I was never a gamer, but I had my own things, my crafting, my baking, my
mm-hmm,
whatever.
Yeah.
And we have opposites, but it's all still creativity and
mm-hmm,
so
Yep.
we do have that kind of in common. Like he always wanted to create his own, video program or games for kids and stuff like that. Like that's what he really wanted to do. But I feel like when you have that, when you have something that you're both passionate about and you help each other, and
mm-hmm,
if I say, hey, I want to buy this to do this because I want to try it out, like he won't say no to me, or if he
mm-hmm,
says, hey, I want to buy this for my game, and to me I may be like, well, it's a game, but for sure, go ahead, that's your hobby, that's your thing. And I think that's important, when the things that you like, should never let anybody, not allow you to do the things that you like to
mm-hmm,
do, or,
right,
at least support you in those things. It's very important. And I think,
mm-hmm,
we've been together now for 12 years, and, you know, I feel like because we have helped each other in that sense, and we're so passionate about our things, and we help each other, and we're, supportive of one another, that it
yeah,
works that way, kind of like he has his time, I have me time, um, but we're okay with that. We're
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
totally fine with that. So, but yeah,
It's
I
funny
just wanted to
how
put that out
it
there.
just changed. Like the whole landscape of relationships have just changed over so many years, right? Especially in the last couple decades and such. So, you know,
Yeah.
where you social outings was the thing, the norm, but now the social distancing, because of social distancing, now the virtual socials are the norm. So, and that's okay with me, and I think that should be okay, because you know the world evolves and you have to evolve with it. So,
Mhm.
I see no problem with it. You know, when it gets to be, the only time they become scary is when it starts to, you know, violate some, you know, some spaces and such. But hey, that's
Yeah.
another story. But anyways,
Yeah.
I think you everybody had a really good points in terms of, just to kind of recap a little bit of what we talked about over the course of this podcast, because we are at the end of our podcast. But I think, you know, we started off with transportation and we learned about each of our first cars. I thought that was fun, and we had our chat get involved, and you guys were pretty savvy into knowing, you know, you paired up our cars with our personalities, I guess, or whatnot. So
Five for five we were, I think.
yeah, that was pretty good. And then just learning about each of our, you know, experiences growing up when it came to transportations. You know, even though we lived in separate eras, we were no different in the sense that we all still had to kind of go through kind of the passage of or the rite of passage, or the coming of age of learning how to drive and learning how to date, and then being in social circles. So I think that's, having those shared experiences kind of brings to light, you know, how we each get along in this world, and how we can all be, you know, friends. I've never met DJ or Rosaline ever,
In
except through
person.
here. I've seen Johnny. I've never met Wifey, but you know, but just having this mechanism to be able to do so is amazing. And
Yeah.
imagine 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, if we had that, I don't know where would we be. But it was
Right.
also nice having that, you know, the simple way of of life when dating and walking around and getting, you know, bikes, using bicycles to get around to places and things like that.
Going
So
to the movies with your aunts and uncles.
yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was so
Speaking
cute.
speaking of, I wanted to just share really quickly, if it's okay,
Oh
the
yeah.
last two facts that I had,
Yeah.
that I thought were pretty interesting and kind of like taking it way back. If you can just go backwards, before like the 19th century. So the word for dating back then was courtship.
Oh
Yep.
They use the word
Yep.
yeah.
courtship.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they say is that the unions between the couples, the courtship, right, was facilitated by the parents who would arrange for the male suitor to have a supervised visit in the
Yeah.
woman's home.
Some Pride
And the
and
goal
Prejudice
for the
stuff.
visit, yeah, the goal for the visit was to evaluate whether or not the courtship would result in a marriage.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
snap. Dang.
Yeah.
that's how the dating scene, was
Mm-hmm.
way back
Ugh.
when.
Wow.
And then taking it now back to now, or in the future anyway. I found this really cool fact that's talking about the future of dating, and as technology changes, um, they're saying that futurists believe that in another 10 years, we'll be experiencing even more relationship based on technology. For example, predictions include DNA dating.
Oh,
Well,
what?
And they say, yeah, they say by personal genomics. I don't know how you pronounce that. AI and big data. They say virtual reality
wow.
dates, allowing you to see
Yeah.
and experiencing as if you were there. I guess that's already something that we have, right?
Oh,
Already. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
like augmented
and then
dating.
they're saying that arranged marriages may even come back, which
Oh,
that's kind of scary.
that is
It
scary.
could. Yeah. Yeah. I could see it.
And even dates with robots. So I thought that was
Oh
kind of
my.
interesting.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd pick my kids' partners
You
Well,
would?
I mean, it's like I
in the
wouldn't
future.
pick
Sure,
them, but I would
I would have a.
help suggest. Like,
Right.
didn't your parents like they knew each other? The parents of your parents? Like it wasn't arranged,
Yes,
but it was like
my
your
mom. My
parents.
mom knew my dad's parents before she knew my
Yeah.
dad,
So it's a
and
Oh,
thing.
they,
okay.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
not.
can see that being
Yeah.
a thing. That I can, but
It's just the idea of like community and like
mm-hmm.
people helping like, hey, I know this person, it might could be, but then
Mm-hmm.
but then there's the fine line of like, I'm not gonna push it on someone, like I'm not gonna insist
Right.
like you
At the
have
end
to
of the day,
date.
they have to make their
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
Strongly
Yeah.
Well,
suggesting is a good idea.
And I think DNA testing, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean,
That is.
for them to make you compatible with another person based on that, or based
Yeah.
on, or
That's
maybe
Yeah.
there,
fascinating. I think that's cool.
right? I mean,
Mm.
I know that there are professionals that you can go to that, of course you pay tons of money for, but there are professionals who, you know, basically know all about you. They ask you tons of questions, and then, they have a database of, if you're looking for a guy, then, they have all these guys that, they've already interviewed and talked to and whatnot, and then they can, you know, put you together and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, doing other things like that in the future, dating robots, or, things like that. I mean, I'm
That's
like, that is,
creepy.
yeah, that is creepy. I
That's
mean, you
really
never know.
creepy.
It's technology is only getting,
Mm-hmm.
bigger and better. So who knows?
True. True, true, true. Well, I want to thank you all, the panelists. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for putting your time and your effort in this podcast and the segments to be as a whole. Mixed Talk is that it's just a mixed bag of things that we talk about. Things that are nostalgic, things that make sense and relevant to today, and have some sort of parallel to today. So I really thank you guys for giving of your time. I want to thank you guys all in chat for hanging out and listening to all the chatter and adding your comic relief there. It was really funny listening to
we
some
love you. We love you,
backgrounds.
chat.
Yeah, we absolutely love you guys. By the way, if you want to follow any of these guys, I put it in chat a few times. So I'm going to put it there now. But if any of you would like to go follow, if you're not already following anybody here, please do so. The links are all there. You can also come and check out either one of our Discords. DJ, like he said he streams a couple times during the week. Johnny as well, myself as well, and then when Wifey is up and running, and Rosaline once in a while as well. And when Wifey's computer, or when she's all settled into her new abode
in the near future,
yeah, we'll get her up and running, and you guys can go follow her too. But I want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for making this a fun episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed learning about all of our little dating idiosyncrasies and the way in which we had to get by dating back in the day. I would like to take this time right now to find somebody and quickly, raid if we can, and then we are off for the night. I think it was a lot of fun. We meet once a month, so typically around the same time of the month, end of the month. So expect to see us next month, June. Toward the end, we'll announce it in each of our social medias and Discord channels once we get the dates solidified. But and every topic, it's something different. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to the next topic. So again, thank you guys so very much for being here. I'm so grateful and so appreciative for all of you, each of you. Thank you. All right, let's go find a person to go raid. If you guys want to go. Throw out some suggestions. This is a tradition that I like to do. I like to end the streams rating people. We always want to pay it forward, right, and bring our community to someone else's community. And this is how we expand, and this is how we carry it forward, the community and the friendships forward. Let's see, who do you guys want to raid? Is there anyone in particular? Let's see. I meant to ask you guys to do this earlier just to see if you could, keep an eye on someone that you would be interested in raiding. We could always go. I don't see anybody in the just chatting or the talk shows.
Yeah, it's
and
mostly games. I think.
Mostly games.
Unity is streaming in GameStar Kid. If you want to, I know both of them.
Roxius
I
is
follow both of them.
streaming too. Let's see who else. Bjorn Majestic is just chatting. Miss Vixen is just chatting. I'm open to whoever you guys want to do.
Julie Clark's, I think, on, right?
Julie Clark's doing a music stream.
I think so.
She's a good one to do too. We could bring our community over there, or we could.
Yeah,
let's see.
she's awesome.
Yeah, I've interviewed her actually on the Annie Talk Show.
I know. I was
podcast.
your mod, Annie.
I know.
Hello, remember?
Oh
She's
my
in
goodness.
Vegas.
Yeah, she's in Vegas. You want to raid her? Or I'm thinking Broxius too. Broxius is one of our friends too.
It's up to you. Your stream. And
Yeah,
this is
do it.
Annie's World. Annie's World, everyone. Annie's World.
Can somebody check Broxius's stream real quick? Is he like
Sure.
engaged in a match? Sometimes when he's engaged, he doesn't see his chat. That's my only fear. It's like he'll never know where he came in.
That's your only fear? No, yeah, right.
No. Or we could go do Julie. Julie's a good one to follow too. She's pretty awesome. Or Gabby Agura, who's doing Elite Dangerous. She's a good one as well.
Gabby.
8-Bit Elliot is doing Minecraft.
Oh, well.
Oh shoot! Speaking of which, oh my goodness.
Broxius.
I was just gonna say it. I'm like, wait,
We
Let's
were
do the music
it
thing.
is, and I see us.
Oh my goodness. Oh well, yeah. Thank you. Oh my lord. Look at Big Chili Chill. Yeah, Big Chili Chill made this song for me. Hey, Broxius. Oh my gosh, Broxius0120. Hi, Luna Ray. Funny story. We were just gonna raid you. We were just gonna go come and raid you right now. Oh no, who are we gonna raid? Thank you guys for coming over. So come with us on a double raid. We're gonna go. We're gonna reverse Uno card. For real. Let's go find somebody else to raid. I'm thinking. Okay, I'm sorry. I know this is like. We need to like quickly do this. Let's just go find somebody. I guess let's go raid. Oh gosh, I don't know who to raid. Here you guys. Let's go raid Ryan. Let's go raid my friend Ryan. He's a DJ. He's really cool. He's super cool. He's also based out of Las Vegas, but I think he's here actually. He's Joe Coy. He's a comedian. Joe Coy's DJ on tour. So you have to go follow him. Yes,
Nice.
he's freaking awesome. I love him.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
He's really, really cool. Let's go follow him right now, or let's go raid him right now. So, thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Broxius. Thank you, Tony, for the raid. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's go follow, or let's go Ryan LV. Here we go. Let's go raid Ryan LV. He's so awesome. Tell him I said hi. Tell him I sent you. Well, he'll see that I sent you. So if you're sub to my channel, use any one of those raid calls, and let's go raid Ryan right now.
They do follow it.
Damn, another raid. Annie, how are you? Rizalyn, Annie, Crazy Pac-Man, let's go. DJB Remix, I see you. Johnny
Hey.
Frickenrico. Sheesh.
I need like a drink.
Shout out to Annie Talk Show, man. Make sure you guys
Oh,
are
man.
following her.
I
Party.
need a hard drink. I need some hard cider.
We go back to the Comedy
Hard
Club days.
cider.
Yes, Comedy Club
Sheesh.
days. Yes. Joe Coy's frontman. It's pretty awesome. He used to come out to the improv and we used to just
Winter
hang.
Salt, let's go. Oh, there she is.
There we go.
7 months.
Let me just say hi to him real quick.
Let's go. Make sure you guys are following Hey It's Ivy. How are you, Ivy?
How are you?
Let's
All
go.
right, let me turn him down.
Annie,
so
how
he-
are you? Thanks for the raid.
He almost looks like Bruno a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Darcy. I'm sorry, Darcy.
I'm in the middle of a podcast.
By the
You
way,
think I'm gonna get up to that?
Ryan is going to be on tour with Joe Coy's in the very, very near future. So
We have to wait.
okay.
I know, Ivy.
You guys
Okay.
like my glasses? I have to wear glasses now, guys.
All right, let me end the stream real quick. You guys.